Oh no.
Did he push the button too
Your
early?
hat. I love that hat. That's the best hat.
CoCoTALK would like to thank its patrons, the real sponsors of our show. So a very warm thank you and gratitude go to Al Hartman, Alan Huffman, Blair Ledoux, Brendan Donahue, Brian Joyce, Brian Weasler, Christina Armstrong, D. Bruce Moore, Davey Mitchell, Diego, Disney Saints fan, Eric Canales, Fedor Stamen, Grant Leedy, Jason Bucata, Jason Downs, Jenna Farron, Ken Reichert, Kyle Eder, Malfunct, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Richard Lorbieski, Rob Inman, Steve Bjork, Terry Steen, Terry Steggy, The Backyard Shed Gang, Tom C., and Tom S. Thank you very much, patrons. CoCoTALK is an unscripted live broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own and not necessarily those of the CoCoTALK show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds encouraged, sense of humor recommended. If any off-color comments were made, we're sorry.
Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS 80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. It's time to drop your socks and grab your real-time clocks, and let's rock.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a special episode of CoCoTALK. We're here with you on episode 147 with special guest host Nick Marotta. Nick Marotta. Would you like to find out who won the GameON challenge this week? I know I would.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
And we're live.
Hello, everybody. So the winner was Nick Marentes. We'll see you next week. Hey, everybody.
Great show in history.
The show?
That's it. That's all we're here for, is to announce the winner, right? Actually, it's not the winner. Well, we will tell you the winner in an upcoming hour. Anyway, I would like to say, do a quick round of introductions. I'm going off my own participation list, which may or may not align with the squares. So let's start off with David O'Connor.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here from the land down under.
Did you smile when the man gave you a Vegemite sandwich?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Apparently that's a requirement.
Yep.
Next up, we have our resident gaming encyclopedia, Nitrous 9 fanboy, and just all around nice guy, Curtis Boyle.
Just wait, I'm still playing Donkey King. Hi, everyone.
Oh, trying to top your score, huh?
I don't think he's that nice.
He's Canadian. That's just by default. All his Canadians are just awesome.
No, nobody's perfect.
No.
He's nobody.
Next up, we have the man who puts the T in TDP, Terry Steggy.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Good
I
to
was
see
flipping
everybody.
through a rainbow the other day looking at ads, and I kept seeing TDP stuff, and it kept bringing you to my mind. You will always be Mr. TDP to me.
Well, thank you.
You will always be.
Next up, we have, I'm not sure what his favorite computer peripheral is. It may be a floppy drive. I'm not exactly sure. David Ladd.
Good day, everyone. So glad to be here, and I hope you're all ready for today's show, because I'm certainly ready. And Curtis is making some funny eyes.
You're still talking. Go ahead.
I'm going to kick your butt at Coco Fest.
Here comes the talk. They spent me here, and it never happens.
Oh, we'll see.
Uh-huh.
I got a size 24 boot ready to go someplace.
Well, if you do, make sure you stream it. We can make it like a pay-per-view event. All right, thanks a lot for being here, David. Next up, we have our chat moderator and super nice guy, Mark Overhoser.
Hi there. Glad to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you, my friend. Next up, we have, I don't know if he's the best or the worst of the brothers, but Jason Reichard.
You know, I think I may have made a serious error this week. I've been playing buzzard bait all week. We were supposed to play Donkey Kong. I got that one mixed up.
Oh,
Yeah, at least if you're going to play a joust game, play a decent one. Come on.
and the battle continues. Let me tell you why you're wrong.
Oh, I wanted to mention too to Jason. I was looking through the old world of 6-8 micros from when Frank Swigert first started them early this week, doing some research. And the first issue has a check balancing program you wrote.
There was a program in there I wrote. I don't remember which one it was. I thought it was
Or database,
you know what?
something
It's
like
been
that.
so long. I think I had
utility
like a phone database, and then I think later I had like a videotape database or something like that was in there pretty early on.
So I should introduce you as
accomplished author,
publisher.
Jason, is what I'm going to call you now.
Yeah.
Published author, yes.
Published author. Code laureate, Jason Reichard. Thanks for being here.
Code laureate. There we go. It's a new title.
Thanks for being here, my friend. Next up, we have John Laurie.
Hey, everybody. 62 days, 9 hours, and 50 minutes until Coco Fest.
Woohoo!
There
Who's
you go.
counting?
Yay.
So you're
But who's
expecting no
counting?
traffic delays.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot. Now we have one of our other guys from Down Under, Mr. Nick Marentes.
And good day, everyone. Ready for another show? I'm not.
Doesn't
I
stop
thought you were
you
going to say ready
before.
for another Photoshop, but go ahead.
Yeah, we'll be having a new segment later on with Photoshopping with Nick Marentes. Please stay tuned. Actually, it's be
create your
Coco-maxing
own high school. Don't waste time.
Teach your way to victory. Thanks,
That's
Nick, thanks for being here. Next up, we have our wonderful person who conceived of all this mess, Mr. Steve Strobridge.
Thank you. You're
That
too
is a
kind.
beautiful
Thank
hat.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's good to be here.
Is that your 20s flapper hat, or what exactly is that?
This is my hamcation souvenir.
Got to keep your neck from getting red there, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks. I meant physically, not metaphorically. But who knows? You know, I don't know what your political persuasion is, and I'm not.
I don't get it, man. What are you saying there?
It didn't prevent
If
his
your
face from getting
family
red playing
tree is
Donkey King.
line. Thanks for being here, Steve. And we also have with us Brian, the Music Man Shoebring.
Hello. Another episode of CoCoTALK has me on it. Hello, everybody.
That's their highest praise we can say. CoCoTALK. Brian Shoebring is on it. That's so sad. What does that sound?
Wolves.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like a Hawaiian guitar.
Almost sounded like the part of the Doors song. But we're moving on with the intro.
Yes. All right. Finally, Brian Weasler.
Hello, all. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. I'm glad you guys are all here. Well, we couldn't do it without you. Well, I guess we could, but it'd be a lot less fun and really sad. So thank you all for being here. And so I think first thing we'll talk about. So last week's show, we tried a bit of some tweaking, some different formats, and we're kind of interested to hear from the panel and maybe chat, what you guys thought of we sort of broke up into segments with different hosts, and apparently we did pretty good with views last week. So just kind of interested to hear, what you guys think. Are we on the right track with the changes we're making? What do you think?
Last week was a really good show. I thought it was the initial plan was to go for hour segments, but then the whole thing of if it went a little bit longer because it was interesting or it wasn't quite, we ran out of stuff beforehand, so we cut things short. I thought that worked really well. It was a bit of improvisation on a plan there, and it worked.
Yeah, and one thing we're going to do is we're also going to go the other way. We're not going to force it. If the segment is sort of slowing down, then we're not going to be afraid to sort of like, we want to keep the show as interesting as we can.
Yeah.
So we're going to be a little more dynamic with that, and whether it goes quote long or quote short, because there's no real target other than the overall show length. So okay, thank you for that feedback. Anybody else?
Nick, just admit that we don't know what we're doing here.
We fly by the seat of our pants.
Yeah,
there you go.
I do like the segment. I do like the segments myself, and having the guest host for each hour type thing, so it's not all in one person to do something. I think that really helps. Plus, we can rotate people in and out if people are away or sick or on holidays or whatever else. We can get some other guests in too, and kind of expand the panel community itself.
That's right.
And having the focus on the different things too, instead of kind of sometimes in the past we've kind of hodgepodge the whole show together. Now we just have to hodgepodge segments, so that's much better.
That's right. 3 random pieces is a lot better than 1 big random pice.
It'll be a hodgepodge of hodgepodges.
Yeah.
Stevie, you had a comment too, or?
Well, I was going to say, and I think Terry Steggy mentioned this too in Facebook when he says he couldn't have been more proud. And as the guy who started this, I feel the same way. I could not be more proud than what you guys pulled off last week, because I was going to be out of town. I couldn't stream. Rob Inman says, hey, I've got a week to prepare. And he put a lot of thought into this, and he came up with a really cool structure. Ironically, what I thought was going to be the big segment of Hamcation, showing stuff off, that kind of flatlined because we had no broadband. But because there was a plan and a structure in place, and because we've got all you amazing people, last week's show is literally the best show we've ever had. We've got over close to 300 views on YouTube.
Oh, awesome.
Combined with Facebook, it's about 600. With podcasts, we're looking at 700. It's been our biggest show this year, and probably the biggest show in the past 6 months. And ironically, Nitrous 9 was the big part of it.
That's hardly ironic.
Yeah. So
I actually think it was your hat, and we should see even better numbers this week.
It could be, but I kind of dreamed that this would happen. Like, the whole idea of me getting more people to stream was that the show doesn't depend on any one person, and anybody can pick it up and host it and stream it, and everybody's going to put their own spin on it. And it's been happening. And I think last week was just the perfect storm of that happening. And I'm really excited to see what we do in the future as we continue to put our heads together and try new things,
Well, it definitely makes it fun that you involve us. Like I said, the first time you asked me to even join Zoom, I'm like, I'm not a podcaster. And look at me now.
Now you're a host.
Look at me now, Dad. No, I'm just kidding.
From the makers, I can't believe it's not butter. I can't believe it's not a podcast.
Actually, it's a video show that we also happen to podcast, right? I don't want to misuse the term.
Yeah. I'm really curious to hear what the viewers think too about the show, about last week's show, because it was 4 hours and it's gotten the most views of anything in the past few months. So why?
This is that correlation causation thing. Like, we don't want to start doing 10-hour shows because we'll get 10 times as many viewers type thing. Right.
I'd like to know what the viewers think of your hat, Stevie.
That's a great question. Chime in.
Fluorescent.
You can put up a poll.
When you're looking at the stats for the show, does it show, when you say there's X number of viewers, does it show you like a time frame, like they tuned in and watched the whole 4 hours, or does it break up into time when we see that? As far as, like, is there one segment where it seems to peak and then or whatever? I don't know. Curious.
Honestly, it's really hard to drill deep into the metrics. What I will tell you, just from kind of gut and a little bit of experience, is I trust YouTube numbers. If YouTube says 280 people watched it, then they probably watched it for a significant period of time. When Facebook says 300 people watched it, any drive-by counts as a view. So if somebody just scrolls and it's on their wall and they saw it for a blink of an eye, that's a view. So I don't put as much faith in those numbers, but they're still numbers, So it's really hard to get super quality details, but I trust YouTube over Facebook. you know.
Sorry, Stevie. I was just going to say the interesting thing was that the YouTube data and the Facebook data were very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose, I mean, live, I don't know what's the more popular format for it, but like you're saying, if there's a, nearly, what was it, 260 or 270 odd views or something on YouTube.
I think it's 280 plus now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, and they're legitimate, not just, statistics because somebody happened to see the stream on YouTube, and that sort of seems to match up with Facebook as well, then perhaps quite a number of the Facebook people were actually long-term viewers.
Right. Well, the good thing about YouTube, there's no way for a drive-by viewing to happen in YouTube. You've got to click on it to make it start playing. Whereas Facebook, it will autoplay just by scrolling past it.
And I think Facebook has a thing where it counts as a view only if you've watched at least 15 seconds or a minute or something, but it doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
Did they watch like half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah, right.
Yep. Still good numbers though. Very good numbers.
Dave and Sharon say it was the 2.5 hours of OS9 monologue that made it awesome.
Thank you.
Hold on. How do you redact the comment? I need to erase that. We also have Robert who's saying he likes that we split it up into hosts. He also liked it before. So I guess he's kind of, either way we do it is good. But he likes the variety of the segments and he doesn't mind a long show.
Yeah, and he doesn't mind the segments being long or short either, he's saying too. So, depending on the content, you don't overstretch it to force it to an hour. You don't cut it short to force it to an hour. You just follow the flow.
We don't want to be like, oh, so what did you do this week? Yeah, we want to keep it like, somewhat interesting.
I like flexibility and fluidity, but it's great to have a plan and a structure. And we're going to try to cover A, B, and C. And sometimes they may drift or slide, but let's know what A, B, and C will hopefully be, Yeah,
it's good to have a general outline guideline rather than a complete free-for-all because that just gets messy. So I agree.
We are forgetting one important fact. Last week, David Ladd left early.
Ooh, we haven't got to factor that in.
Boosted the numbers.
Poor David.
I would like if you guys would indulge me. We're going to continue this conversation, but last week's show was pretty OS9 heavy, and it was a really amazing commercial that Rob Inman made, actually two, and that inspired me. So I made my own commercial last night. I'd like to share with you guys and get your feedback on it. Are you guys ready for the world premiere of this?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go. Extended Color Basic combined with a disc controller brings you
Disc Extended Color Basic. Direct access to your floppies. Direct access to all of your hardware resources.
Deck B on your color computer.
Deck B washes away competition.
Oh, dear me.
I think the gauntlet's been burned.
My only question is how much did Mick Narantes pay you to run that?
I had nothing to do with it.
How much is your Photoshop? How much a Photoshop subscription? That's about $15 a month, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why Nick was practicing his Photoshop skills on the high score table. He was helping Stevie. I got it now.
So what do you guys think?
Actually, it's great. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he'll tell you in the caboose what he really thinks.
No, it's funny. I have no problem having humor about it. So I've been through the great Deck B OS9 wars in the 80s and 90s. So.
And did you predict it to continue on into the 2020s?
Oh,
I did notice you had to use, period correct when it actually was decent back in the 80s music and stuff there, but yeah.
Does Nick Marionettes approve that message?
Oh yes, I mean he was pitching on the OS9 stuff. That's fine. It's the Nitrous 9 that I'm more of a supporter of.
Okay, there you go.
And that trash can icon that was made, legendary trash can icon, right?
Hey,
there's a bunch more icons coming up in the next one that Nick did too, and Rob.
Oh, see. You're slowly turning them to the dark side.
Yes, but we have a lot of variety in the community, and
all in fun.
What people love to do with their hobbies, and it's great to have fun with all this,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But it is interesting to see, how what the community thinks of, OS 9 coverage in the show. Like, if it's good to know that it does appeal to people. It doesn't. So, I know we have some OS 9 fans in the community. Mr. Dave 6809 is one of the biggest ones. So
Plus, I mean, there's a lot of people that use both. I mean, obviously, if I was strictly OS 9, I wouldn't have entered the Donkey King contest, right? Because that's a just basic game.
Right. Well, speaking of Mr. Dave and the show and how we change and grow, Mr. Dave gave us that suggestion of the kind of game of the week, right? So that came through on Discord. It's a great idea. I think we more than ran with that this past week, and we're going to see the results this week. So I'm the first person to say, when it comes to what we do here on this show, we don't have a freaking clue. It's just magic that sometimes accidentally happens, and it's the perfect storm of everybody chipping in with suggestions and contributions. So we try to solicit that. Give us your ideas, give us your feedback, give us your suggestions, and we got a great segment out of it. We've gotten great content from Nick Marentes with core dumps and the GameON segments. So everybody gets an idea, and these ideas become a spark that just catches fire sometimes. So
it's a community effort.
Yeah, really, we're hanging out as a community. I mean, we have people kind of driving it, but we have overall, we're a community of people hanging out, having fun. Anybody's welcome to join us on Zoom. Anybody's welcome to join us on Discord. It's just a bunch of guys who enjoy the Coco and want to get together and talk about it.
It really is like a modern global version of our local computer clubs that we had back in the 80s.
Yeah. I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah. I know it's definitely a big part of my week, so I really appreciate
with
it.
improvements, because we can actually see each other, which back we might have done BBS chatting and back and forth.
Well,
we get to see the awesomeness of Stevie's hat.
That's an improvement.
Yeah.
And so what I just like to ask the people who are watching our show, listening to our show, is to keep those suggestions coming, keep the ideas coming. Feel free to join us. And there really are no bad ideas. We just got to try them out and see how they work. And everything's a work in progress, so. And
also for those that aren't able to watch the show live, like we've got live chat coming in now from Facebook and YouTube, etc. And keep the suggestions coming there as well, but also email us. And Stevie, you can rattle off the email address they should send the suggestions to.
Oh, that would be CoCoTalk@CoCoTalk.live.
When I started joining Zoom, I didn't even have any actual hardware. I was just a guy who had fond memories as a teen. And so you don't need to have tons of hardware. You don't need.
Week. I'm wondering if my shoulder's starting to get a little stiff here from patting myself on the back so much. Oh yeah, I just added 8 serial ports, and I hooked up the 15 printers, and I saved them $10 trillion. And
you need some yes men to talk.
The country's economy. Oh God, my shoulder's really killing me right now. So
you need some yes men.
I've just switched my other arm there, and
Where's that hit button again?
Excellent point, sir.
Is Jason still here?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Jason, do you want to give your kind of summary on last week's, not only Hamcation, but I guess your whole Orlando experience?
I can do that. We drove, and so that was an adventure in itself, and spent a couple days at a couple of Disney parks, visits from family, and then met up with you and Mr. Michael Brandt, aka Qui-Gon, there, and spent some time in Hamcation. Amazingly, I was there Friday for a bit with Michael Brandt, and we missed the Coco stuff the first time around that we later discovered there on Saturday. And what else did we do? It was oh boy. Well, we found some Coco goodies there at Hamcation there on Saturday, you and I, and as it's been said earlier, we attempted to do some live streaming, but the cell service there was just awful for whatever reason, and that was totally unexpected. So, and I ended up picking up a direct connect modem pack. That's originally what I spotted on the table and what prompted the fellow that had that stuff to bring out another bin of Coco stuff. And between Stevie and I, we we purchased all of it. And the last piece was this ROM pack looking thing with a wire coming out of it that I've yet to check into. It's been a very busy week because, again, I drove and then I had to go to work the next day. So it's been a very busy week. And I'm hoping to look at this stuff more over the weekend. But appears to be made by Kentronics, which Kentronics is a company that makes, in business to this day, makes a lot of ham radio interfaces, usually dealing with data or digital communication of some type. And so I'm not familiar with that at all. I don't know if it has any software, but I've never seen one, and I did go ahead and pick it up, along with a few other little tidbits. But
yeah, I think Brian Schubring was mentioning what that thing did last week when I was listening to the replay. Yeah.
I heard it's been speculated it could be RTTY or RTTY, which was a type of radio teletype, and it's still used, and that could be it. I don't know how that interfaces into a radio yet. I know I've seen at one point there were other RTTY programs for the color computer back in the CoCo 1 and 2 days that did RTTY, I believe, through the cassette port. But honestly, I've never tried to make any of that stuff work at this point. And that's one of those projects, if I ever get to try to make some of this, if there's any of this ham software that still works on the CoCo work.
Sure.
I mean, my extent with ham on the CoCo was I was, by that point, it was the CoCo 3, and I was just using a generic terminal program to talk to a terminal node controller, or which is more like, it's kind of like a modem for your radio, and it was an external serial device, and I was just using a terminal program, ironically made by that same company, Kentronics. But I'm trying to think what else I got. I think I might have got like some kind of odd book or something, and I got to go through it. I'm not even all unpacked yet. It's been one of those weeks.
Brian, have you had any experience using the RTTY and stuff? Like, I know Marty Goodman and a few others mentioned WeFax and RTTY back in the 1983 era rainbows. Did you ever get too involved with that?
Yeah, I actually, on 2 meters, I was using the CoCo 2, and I tried to use for the CoCo 3 also. I started hacking the program a little bit. But yeah, I was doing RTTY on 2 meters with the color computer. And in that I didn't have the that HamSoft pack for the CoCo. It was just through the cassette port in that. And basically, for that card that you got there, Jason, was it's basically the communications between the computer and the TNC, and that was for the interface 2 TNC for Ridian CW. That provided the TTL communication standard between the TNC and the computer. That's what that card does. And then with the HamSoft software for the color computer, that's what gave you the ability to control the TNC. So that's what it does for you. So back to you guys.
I think David Ladd must be wetting himself with all those acronyms going across there.
I heard TL.
So I got a CoCo 2 64K. I just fired it up this morning. It's behind me. It doesn't boot. It boots to like a screen full of dollar signs. And Mr. Dave told me to open it up and take some pictures and send it to him. This is a Korean CoCo 2B, so almost everything is soldered. There was only 2 chips and sockets. I tried unseating those and reseating them. I sprayed some deoxit on all the crusty chips and stuff. It's still not booting, so it's probably going to need some RAM replacement, from what Mr. Dave is saying.
Sounds like, yeah. I reckon.
Yeah, usually if you have the stuck character
too.
on the VDG screen, it's a RAM problem. One of the bits is stuck.
At least the processor seems to be working, and the videos.
Yeah, because I pulled that out and it wouldn't boot without it. So I put it back in and that worked.
Way to troubleshoot, Stevie.
There you go. But still, it's a $15 64K CoCo 2. It's going to need probably minimal repair work to be a nice machine. Right next to it, you can see the dual floppies. It's an FD500 with 2 half-height drives, controller. I haven't tested those, but they'll probably work. I think the coolest thing I got was this. This is the TRS-80 color computer quick reference, and this thing's
spiral bound one
for like $4, but it's spiral bound. It starts off as basically like kind of the alphabetical reference of all the basic commands, but then it gets into a lot of more really cool stuff. So let me just kind of flip through here and show this off. It gets into some functions. So your sine, cosine, absolute type stuff, how to use those.
With color highlighting, no less.
Yep. ROM subroutines. So here you're going to see some addresses on places to go for different ROM calls. Really cool stuff. It had some, control keys, special characters, operations, your color codes, and all your semi-graphic symbols. It even had a whole alphabetical listing. So here's your ASCII. It's showing you in like ASCII, decimal, and hex. All the assembly language commands were in here too. Editor commands for edtasm and zbug. There's tons of cool stuff.
That's not a beginner's.
Well, it's got everything, right?
That's pretty cool that there's all the assembly stuff in there.
Yeah,
That's
6809 instruction sets are showing up there, and these are all alphabetical. So for $4 or $5, there's a ton of information in here, and it even gets to like your pinouts of your RS-232s and all kinds of stuff, you know. So really cool.
I wonder if that's
is
that in the archive at all? Do you know? Or maybe
honestly, I'm not sure. But this
Maybe
was like it was a throw-in with the computer and floppy drive that I bought, you know.
So originally, would it have been something? Would it be a book you buy at Radio Shack?
Yeah, it sold for $3 or $4.95.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, $4.95. So this was $5 retail.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Stevie, the ASCII value for the $sign is 36.
Okay.
And when you turn on the Coco, it's filling the screen with the value 32, which is empty spaces. So if you subtract the difference, that's 4. So the 1, 2, 4, it's the third chip from the left. That's probably
so we're counting
bad.
in binary.
Okay. Oh wow!
Right. Well, yeah. The chips.
Each chip does 1 bit of a byte, basically.
Right. Yeah. The first chip, is 1. The second chip is 2. The value that it stores is, and then.
So there's going to be a quiz later. So pay attention, kids. Pop quiz at the end of the show.
Also, because it seems to be, if you say all the way across the screen, it's not like an individual bit. It may be a control line for the chip. That whole chip is offline, basically. Just because they're all the same.
One trick would be to turn it on and let it warm up for a bit, and then put your finger on that chip and see if it gets hot. If it's real hot, and that typically indicates a bad chip.
Okay.
Did you check and see whether the VTG was a T1?
Or you can get lucky, like me, and physically see a broken pin.
I posted all the pictures in the CoCoTALK lobby and Discord, so I don't recall, but you can look at it if you want.
Oh, you have pictures of the motherboard in there?
Yeah, and close-ups of the chips and stuff too. So
good.
Yeah, okay. You see whether it's got T1 written on it, lowercase.
Right. So how are we doing on this segment here? Have we done a good job patting ourselves on the back from last week?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Our egos are well stroked.
Yeah. Really, the point I wanted to make was we want, feedback and contributions, because a lot of that was, kind of Rob's idea of the structure, and then you guys filling in the segments. But all this came from people suggesting things for the show. So it's those suggestions that make this show continue to get better.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to just encourage people to keep doing that.
I mean, we could come together and just talk among ourselves, but it's much better when there are people who actually want to hear what we're saying and take part.
And we've just been joined by the internet's own Grand Leedy.
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing today? Hey,
late again.
Welcome. Hey, how you doing? Where you off to? How you doing?
Hey, pretty good, pretty good. What the hell are you wearing there, Stevie?
It's my Hamcation souvenir.
You look like a dork.
Well, I look like
well, he doesn't need the hat for that.
Consider the source.
We are computer nerds. We're allowed to look like dorks.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Footnote: I also picked up I picked up a multi-view manual and this Coco 1 keyboard with what appears to be a Coco 2 ribbon cable.
You're not showing video.
Oh, I know I'm not showing video, but I have.
Oh, I thought you were showing us something.
No, I'm so unprepared today. It's not
okay.
fun.
So I'm sorry. What did you get? You got a multi-view manual?
Multi-view manual and a a Coco One keyboard that I've been told has a Coco 2 ribbon cable on it.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, we've got a new Coco Thoughts. We'll play the new Coco Thoughts. I'm going to give you guys an encore presentation of my new commercial. We'll take a commercial break and we'll come back for segment 2, which is going to be news and Game On.
And GameON Spotlight.
And GameON Spotlight, where we talk
Thank
about
you guys.
last
Thanks
week's
for letting me
challenge.
host. I appreciate it. It's fun.
And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gines. Donkey King was one of the few ports of Donkey Kong, official or otherwise, that included all 4 screens. Not that Stevie would know.
Extended Color Basic, combined with a disc controller, brings you
Disc Extended Color Basic. Direct access to your floppies. Direct access to all of your hardware resources.
Deck B on your color computer.
Deck B washes away the competition.
Hi everybody, this is Siri, Apple's personal assistant and beatbox professional. You're watching CoCoTALK with the original gamer, Stevie Stroh.
You're off, Siri. I was here first.
We'll return after these announcements.
What's going on, everybody? Stevie Stroh, and I want to say thank you for continuing to watch and listen to CoCoTALK. We love doing this show. We think we put together a pretty good show for you, but this show could be better with your help. So if you would like to send a feedback, a comment, a suggestion, a show topic, or maybe even your own little segment or bumper, then send it to us via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live. This show would be nothing without you. Love to hear from you.
This is Ken Reichert, author of Nightmare Highway.
Nightmare Highway.
And you're experiencing CoCoTALK?
As you start your journey to Coco Fest, you notice the road ahead is littered with rogue furniture. You realize you are driving on the
Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway.
the game for the Tandy Color Computer 1, 2, and 3.
Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway.
Stunning low-resolution visuals, digital to analog converted sound, 100% machine language, and basic. What are they saying about
Nightmare Highway? Nightmare Highway.
Steve B. York says, of all the games released this year, this is one of them. L. Kurt S. Boyle says, this will not be on my site. Nick Marionette says, crikey, look at the size of that crock. Get your complimentary copy of
Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway.
At cancanmakeit.com. If you got it for free, you paid too much.
Hey there, it's Andrew here with the Tandy Speech and Sound cartridge that I won from CoCoTALK Live. So next time, make sure to tune in. It may change your life.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home. Instant loading program packs turn any color TV into an exciting game arcade. And there's more. The color computer is an educational aid, a home management tool, an up-to-the-minute electronic information service. The programmable, expandable TRS-80 color computer from $399 only at Radio Shack, the biggest name in little computers.
Greetings, YouTubers. Atari Leaf here, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
Radio Shack has a great gift idea for the whole family. Fast action TV games, and they're on sale. Get this 6-game model for $29.95 or the 4-game model for $21.95. With rising entertainment costs, that's a real bargain. You play hockey, tennis, squash, and more. Easy to hook up and great family fun that lasts all year long. The sale price TV games. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
That is excellent.
Nice little
value.
touch. Nice little touch in there, putting Casey Kasem in there.
I want to learn to play the jazz flute or wherever that is at the end of that commercial. So we've been joined by, is he still here? Yes, Paul T. Barton just joined us. Paul, welcome to the
Yay.
show.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I had a CT scan this morning, so I'm a little late.
Oh, that's. I guess we'll accept that as an excuse.
So how did the
Okay.
Connecticut scan go?
Right. Well, I have a CD, but I haven't looked at it yet. So
Okay.
Didn't
We're
find
really
any
glad-
cats in there.
Really glad you made it.
yeah, me too.
All right, so next we're going to hear from the Walter Cronkite of the Coco world, Mr. L. Curtis Boyle with the news.
All right. Here comes our new intro, courtesy of Rob Inman.
From around the world, what you need to know. Get caught up on News with L. Curtis Boyle.
And now a Muppet News Flash.
That's a little too flashy for
I don't
me.
know the Muppet guy's name. I would have used him, but I don't know his name. I like
Wow, this show's getting professional.
Oh, yeah.
Uncanny resemblance, though.
Love the Muppets.
You guys seen that?
We see ya.
Yes.
L. Curtis.
Okay. So first item in the news, Jim Brain of Retro Innovations, also known as the Troll Master, showed on Facebook his serial 2KB adapter. This takes RS-232 data and converts it to keyboard presses, and also allows you to upload ASCII text files like basic listings, etc., and let it type it in for you. So he did this little prototype here. He actually called me to ask for an ASCII version of a basic program, which I sent him a copy of one, and he loaded the entire program in without having to type anything, but it simulated typing it on the keyboard.
Wow.
That would have been something we would have loved back in the day.
So if you had a monitor hooked up to it, would you actually see it going across and doing the
Yep. Yeah. And theoretically, you could take like even a barcode scanner or something like that, or a wand reader of some sort, and read it in the same way, as long as it's a serial based.
In the live chat, Retro Innovation says, "Finally, a cool project."
Yep.
Well, Jim, you could join in and give us some details on it too, if you want to.
It is a cool project.
Now, there was some talk there that people had done PS2 interface before, and he actually mentioned that he had done a PS2 version of this as well when he was starting the project, and then switched it over to serial. But if he joins in, we'll get some more details from him. Next up, TJB Chris, who's been doing a lot of those interesting. He did the fart detector last week. A lot of interesting projects. This one
That's
here,
why we had all the views.
Yeah, we got to talk about that from last week's show. That was definitely a.
Yeah, that was much better than the Nitrous 9 coverage, I have to say.
Yeah.
If there was only a Nitrous 9 detector,
Smells
it could
about the
save
same.
us
Speaking
like
of
2
gas,
hours.
yeah.
Smells about the same.
Yeah. Except Nitrous 9, of course, can handle multi-farts, so it can do several at the same time.
Just hit clear for a fresh new fart.
You control the farts with your mouse. But anyway, he posted a new video here.
Go ahead.
Posted a new video here showing him controlling a Subaru gauge cluster from a Coco 3 running Nitrous 9. Speaking of Nitrous 9, so he gives a video here that kind of shows updating his boot file because it didn't have the RS-232 pack driver, the version he was using, which I think says 3.3 distribution. So he shows how to install that. I won't play any of that because that's long, boring stuff, even by my standards. But he does show the Coco controlling the gauge on the left there. So whoops, start playing.
Maybe I could use that to fix my gas gauge. It doesn't work on my car.
Take a tip from the old school.
You guys hear that?
Let's change my execution
Yeah.
directory.
Okay, he's still doing the boot file here, so I'll skip ahead.
Here I see the two modules at the end, and hopefully I turned off T2 SC655 of no pause.
This guy's almost as bad as you. We're 45 minutes in. He hasn't done shit.
And now, the way the gauges work is they take serial commands in the form of a letter, which
this is actually controlling the
whatever
gauge.
it is on the gauge cluster that you're addressing. So M for the check engine light, a number, the value, so 0 for off, 1 for on, and then for lights that have multiple modes like slow flash or fast flash, They also accept a 2 or a 3. And this program's forgiving. If you feed it invalid data, it just ignores it. It throws it away. So the program on the Pi is meant to be specifically forgiving, so I don't have to muck with it or reboot it. So let's just send check engine light on to T2. Apparently I can't type a slash. And there's the check engine light.
It just lit up.
To make it flash.
That's cool. That's way cool.
Boom! You just nice making it flash.
So what the heck? Let's put her in drive, and we're gonna go real fast. So let's do this. We're gonna go
88 miles an hour.
Miles an hour.
Yeah.
And we're going to.
Will it move the needle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a digital needle.
Get the extra space through it off. There you go.
That didn't work first
Oh,
time.
that's cool.
Usually it's case insensitive, but whatever.
Talk about a simulator,
And
like a driving simulator. Where you
Oh
could
yeah,
actually
that would be wicked, wouldn't it?
control the gauges and the lights and stuff.
Yeah. That's so
And
cool.
look at that. Oh my. All right.
Is your RPMs getting
it
up
would be
there?
really dangerous if I took off my seatbelt at this speed.
Red line it.
Your door is ajar.
So
No, it's not. It's a door.
It's a door.
And let's just say all this high speed.
I was thinking making us work with the driving game that has those crazy hairpin turns.
Yes, great.
Can you pop the trunk?
100, right? Or is it 0? No, it's F0. Oh, not wrong one. There we go. High coolant temperature. And you'll see the temperature gauge is going to go up. As it gets to the top, it'll get slower and slower. So the gauges on this, especially the temp and fuel, they react slowly. So they aren't prone to sudden movements, especially when they get closer and closer to the value in question. So, and one more thing, I think the transmission is really about had it.
You really make a mess of that.
The transmission temperature's getting hot. At this rate, it's very likely that we're going to burn out the transmission, and I think that's just about what's going to happen. And there we go.
Wow.
So that is really it. That's just a little project.
You have to get to Coco Fest.
Together. You could theoretically use these as a status for anything now that they're not in an enterprise location where I kind of have them on my desk by a.
Is there a love seat detector?
Anyway, I thought it was really cool because you're actually controlling like a modern part of a car, right?
You mentioned something about a Pi though. So is the Raspberry Pi in between the Coco?
Yeah, the Pi basically converts the serial signal to whatever thing the actual dash.
So he's not
thing
talking
uses.
directly to that.
I think it's CAN bus. I think
it's either CAN or LIN. LIN bus is the other one.
Okay.
Converted from serial.
It's basically doing an interpretation of the signals conversion.
That's neat.
But it's such an easy thing. I mean, you could write a basic 9 program or whatever language you want and have it do all this. And like people were mentioning, you could have a car race game and actually have a real gauge.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, by the way, you got to go out and get this Subaru dashboard.
Yeah, no.
It's only like $500.
Well, if you have a Subaru, you can just rip it out of your car. What do you need it there for? Right?
There you go.
And the Raspberry Pi.
Low washer fluid.
We'll just put the computer in the car and play it in the car.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, actually, you don't need OS 9 for this. You could actually just run a terminal program at 9600 baud and do the same thing.
Yeah. Or we can just program a gauge on the Coco screen. It costs nothing.
Except
it's a cool exercise though. Just
Absolutely.
to take current.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And he's
Not
got some more
saying it's
details.
a Coco project, but it could be.
He's actually got some more details on the gauges here, kind of explaining how it works.
Neat. Ken Reichert says, "I see Nightmare Highway 2."
It'd be perfect. Your engine light's on.
More machine language and basic.
Check engine.
Self detected.
Turn on your high beams. You can see the couches further ahead. Yeah, that'd be good.
Game is free. The games cost like hundreds of dollars.
He goes to how to build the whole Arduino thing, and then a little bit on hooking up to the Coco afterwards. How it works.
That's in the Facebook group, is it?
Yeah, I've got direct links too that Mark will be posting in the chat.
I already
too,
posted them. They are posted in the chat.
Next up, pretty impressive of Dragon 32 semi-graphics. Now I wrote 24 here, but I think Nick has actually proven it's semi-graphics 12 afterwards.
It's 12, yeah.
So it should correct that in the notes there. But it has a music background plus it's a semi-graphics graphics demo. Now the music in the background, they kind of cheated to do it, which is kind of a cool way to do it. And it's using motor on, audio on, basically. So if you download the link of not just the cassette file, but the actual audio file, the WAV, It actually has the beginning of the WAV file is the actual program itself, the doo-dee type stuff you're used to hearing. After that is actually recorded 8-bit music that was created on something else. And basically it loads the program, runs, and then the program itself turns motor on, audio on, so it actually plays the music while this whole demo is going. So this is really what it looks like in the Dragon. This is actually recorded off of a real Dragon. But it's a pretty impressive demo. And I think I'll skip the main loading part.
Yeah, I was impressed when I heard the music, thinking it was coming from the Dragon.
Well, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Through the cassette board. But I mean, Simon's finally got some competition writing demos on the CoCo 1 and 2. So.
Right?
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a neat
So what
mode.
was
with those
what
colors.
was used to create the 8-bit music? Was it a C64 or was it a CoCo?
I'm not even sure. I know it was composed by somebody different than the person that actually wrote the graphic part of it.
Sounds very much like a SID chip, C64.
Yeah, it does.
Could be. I know some people back in the old days actually hooked that chip up to the CoCo and actually did program it, but it wasn't a common thing, and I don't think it was ever a commercial product.
You said this is SG12?
Yeah. So basically, it's essentially a 64 by 96.
Yeah, that's a decent mode.
Yeah.
And he also chose a second color set, so you actually have 11 colors because you get a dark red and an alternate orange you don't get on the other.
Now, what's going on here? Are we switching?
Yeah, he's
between
in
P-mode
a
3
P-mode.
and P-mode 4?
Yeah.
This is actually, I did read some discussion on this on the World of Dragon archive. People were thinking because of that shimmering that there was some sort of, palette shifting or switching between screens. That's not. That's just the video capture card pulling off the real Dragon, just kind of not holding the signal stable. This one is just a straight P-mode 3 screen.
All right.
For whatever
It's
reason,
only
it looks
4K.
super high res. Those pixels look really tight there around the belly and stuff.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah. No, it's just
No
128
real-
by 192 by 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't
It's
look
just
like
really
you
good
loaded it.
artwork is what it is. What it boils down to
Yeah.
is good artwork. Yeah.
Yeah, but he had
Yeah.
the letters drawing shimmering on, and of course he had the
Yeah.
character
When I saw
background with
that,
the
I
rainbows
was like,
going
man,
through
this
it.
is very Simon Jonas-y.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, Simon's been around the demo scene for a while, so I'm sure a lot of influence.
And this person has
cross-pollinates
too. The
there.
person that actually wrote this demo has done demos for other platforms before. This is their first Dragon project. So pretty good for a first shot.
Absolutely.
And this probably could be converted pretty easily for the color computer too, right?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to try it yet. I mean, code-wise, it should work now. Now, because the interrupts that if it's using interrupt-driven for the timing and stuff, there it might be a little bit different because of the 50 hertz versus 60 hertz. So it might run faster on the CoCo.
I see.
But I haven't had a chance to try it yet.
Oh, you have the software, the demo?
Yeah, you can download the CAS or the whatever from World of Dragon. I
Already
think it's on.
posted on the chat.
The sound, I've been meaning to ask, the 60 hertz interrupts on the CoCo 1, is it 60? It'd have to be 60 hertz still, even on a PAL one, wouldn't it? Even though our main frequency is 50 hertz and the video is
No, it's 50 hertz on a PAL. You
Oh,
get
it is. Okay, so it is
50 V-syncs
okay.
per screen instead of 60.
Yeah, so it is derived from the video clock then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
okay.
Gimme lets you control it. You can actually switch that, but the old CoCos, it was pretty well hardwired into what, depending what type of CoCo you had.
Yep.
Hey, cool demo. I hope he does
Very
some more.
cool.
Next up, Boise is starting a new YouTube series on his channel called the CoCo Collector, where he plans on looking at an individual item at a time from his vast collection of CoCo hardware and software, including a bit of a history of each. Now, he has a lot of this stuff thanks to him writing the book on the history of the CoCo with, I'm pulling a blank on his name now.
Bill the Judas.
Right, Villages. So he'd gotten a lot of research. He also managed to get some prototype stuff that most people never got access to because he was actually interviewing some of the people from Tandy. And there's a bit of a talk on the Facebook group today. I saw that I think somebody pulled a picture out and noticed the CoCo 4 prototype case with the built-in floppy drives on the top back of it. And they were trying to guess if that was the original Deluxe. No, the Deluxe actually just looked like a CoCo 1 with a different colored case and expanded keyboard and more ports in the back.
Mhm.
But that was the actual CoCo 4 prototype case, which as far as we know has never had a circuit board in it, never got past the stage of a prototype. So But I'll play his. It's only a short little demo here, or a short little video, kind of promoting the new series he's starting, and I thought it'd be worth playing the whole thing just because it's. I'm looking forward to some of the stuff because he's got some stuff I've never seen in person.
Hi, I'm the Coco Collector. I have lots and lots of color computers.
There's the
There
four.
it is right there.
Coco 1s, Coco 2s, Coco 3s, plus peripherals like multi-packs, floppy drives, ROM cartridges, you name it.
Love the
Each
music.
episode,
It's cool.
I'll explore an artifact out of my extensive collection. We'll examine it inside and out and look at the history behind it.
What's
Anyway,
it
I'm really
starting?
looking forward to a series.
Did you say
That's
when it's
cool
starting?
music. I really like that music. It was fun
Soon
to-
is all I
Looks
know
good.
as far as it's starting.
Do we know who this guy is?
Boise,
Boise.
Oh, I didn't realize it was him.
from the Coco crew.
I didn't realize it was him.
Also worked in
He
microwave
was
for years.
Boise before the Coco crew.
Okay.
But I just brought the video forward here so that one on the middle shelf in the middle, that's the Coco 4 prototype case.
Yeah, I don't think anybody missed that. Everybody's caught that. I caught it the minute I saw it. I wonder where he.
Look
How
at
did
this.
he? Do we know how he got a hold of that?
Yeah, he
So
was
that's-
when he was interviewing what's his name? One of the main Coco designers at Tandy. Because he actually had the case there, and actually the guy gave it to him from when he's writing the book.
Really? Huh.
Let's
Just
say
gave
Pritchett
it.
or something like that. Last name.
How many of
Pritchett?
them?
So it's
That's got to be the
MPKs.
most.
No, Pritchett's the 609 guy.
That's got to be the
How many
most
of them were
unique
made?
Coco out there.
Yeah,
I mean,
how many
you know,
of
as
them
far
were made
as-
prototypes?
I might
Yeah,
have
we
it
can-
here just a second.
What do you think that would sell for?
Oh, heaps.
There's only one in the world.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
this one had a built-in floppy drive and
Yeah.
enough room for two of them, and I think it was a 3.5 inch too.
Tim Franklin's asking, "What's the serial number?"
One.
Yeah.
John Prickett.
Prickett. Yeah, that's what I thought. Something like that.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And John's also in possession of the Coco 2 serial number 0001, and Lee Veal has the Coco 1 serial number 0001. So I have no idea who's got the Coco 3 one.
Well, that
Those
Coco 4 one
boxes
too.
look pristine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this because I mean he's got pictures of this Coco 4 case and some of the other hardware that I've never seen before in the book, but they're black and white. They don't look that good. To see them zoomed up in video like this, and he's actually presenting them to you, so you can see every nook and cranny for some of these rare designs. I would just love to see those. So looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when he's going to be doing the first episode. Hopefully fairly soon.
Being a prototype, that Coco 4 would have to be serial number 0, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, there was no board ever made for it. It was
would-
just the case. That's all they made was the case.
Yeah.
There's not even necessarily a serial number on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serialization occurs after they start manufacturing it as a product.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So
It'd
there
have to
there
be
is no
10,
serial number
0.
probably.
And the
Yeah.
funny
No,
thing
there-
is,
No, there probably is not a serial number. It's not serialized yet.
They might give them
Yeah.
serial
Stop taking
numbers.
Silk way too seriously.
Or they give them, like
Identify.
prototype number 1 or something like that.
Mhm. Right.
now the interesting thing, if you remember back from the history book or some of the interviews with some of the people that worked at Tandy at the time, is that some people tend to claim there never was a Coco 4, there was never plans for a Coco 4, yet Prickett had that. So
Well, that
obviously
completely
there's even some
destroys that idea, doesn't it?
miscommunication between the Tandy people here, because obviously somebody had made, I mean, that's a plastic case somebody had to manufacture. So obviously there was at least some thought. given
Well,
to it.
not only that, there's the actual Tandy books reference the deluxe color computer.
The deluxe is not this. Though.
That's
The
not a
was
deluxe.
A Coco 1 level machine.
This was a potential Coco 4.
Yeah, this was a sequel to the Coco 3 planned, and the deluxe was planned to be between the Coco 1 and Coco 2 and the Coco 3 basically is what it was for. But that's a totally different machine. I know there's a lot of confusion. In fact, the people on Facebook that were talking about it thought that's what it was. But the deluxe looks like a white Coco 1, the
With the
64K
Coco 3
model.
keyboard.
Yeah, with the Coco 3 keyboard with a different colored back plastic than the Coco 3 has. And it had like composite out on the back, and it had a real RS-232 on the back, and a few other hardware differences. The sound speech back was built in. And that actually was way past the production stage. 50,000 circuit boards were made of that sucker, and then they canceled it.
Oh, far out.
Wouldn't that be
What happened
great
to all the
to?
boards?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Destroyed from what I've heard. Though Prickett had a few of them, and John or Bill and Boise's book has a picture of the circuit board, because there are a few of those kicking around from the Tandy people that kept them back when they were destroying them.
That's interesting to know how many survived.
Yeah, there's like less than half a dozen that I know of from what Boise said, but I don't know if any of the other Tandy people maybe he didn't get in contact with might have kept some too. I don't know.
They're buried out in the desert with all the Atari cartridges.
That'd be nice if you could find them and resurrect them. That'd be cool. Might need to replace some chips though.
They're all in Area 51.
Next up, Simon Hardy put this link up in the Dragon users group. Time for a little preview. Thanking Kieran Anscombe for creating X-Roar. So there's an online version of X-Roar that's been around, I think, since last summer or something. And it allows you, it's kind of like the Mocha thing where you can play it online. Now, what Simon's working on now is having it so that this online version of X-Roar will directly link to the archive of World of Dragon. So eventually you will be able to load in absolutely any software that's on the World of Dragon, cassette-based, disc-based, doesn't matter. So you'll get access to the entire catalog, including some titles that we haven't seen and maybe not compatible with Coco. So this was his official announcement for it here on Facebook. Now this is very early days, and he originally had put Speed Racer from the archive, but he's actually added a few others and took Speed Racer out at the moment. And he has a page here that kind of explains, what the purpose is and how it came to be, et cetera, et cetera. And then he's actually got the actual X-Roar Online here. You can see it. And everything's done with this menu at the bottom. You can insert disk drives. You can pull in some online software. He's got a few particular, couple of games here to start, a few utilities to start, a couple of demos to start, music to start. I don't know if you guys can see me clicking on the things there.
Yep.
You got your option for how do you want to render it. You can have the joystick be keyboard or mouse driven and both joysticks. It actually does have support for the Tandy Coco and Coco 2s as well as the Dragons, the Dragon 200, which is one kind of their prototype Super Dragon that never got released. And insert tapes and stuff. So he's just in the midst. It's very early. This is like a tech preview. It's not even alpha yet. But I like where it's going, like having access to the archive directly. And maybe he can link the Coco side of it into the Color Computer archive with Williams stuff there. So you can literally play anything online from wherever you are, instead of having to actually download, install an emulator, hope you got the right ROM set up and all that. Because that has a bit of a problem for some people trying to set it up. So I'm looking forward to that.
That creates a very low barrier of entry for emulating a Coco or a Dragon when you can just literally pull it up in a browser.
Hit a web page and you're done.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, Rob Inman posted a link in Discord to a video by the Nostalgia Nerd, pictured here, touring the Home Computer Museum in Helmond, Netherlands. Now, we have probably a year or two ago, we kind of covered this. Sorry?
Bart Van Acker is his name?
Yeah. Van der Acker, I think.
Van der Acker, yeah.
Yeah. So he set up this museum a while ago, and he was actually, his first computer that he owned was a Coco 2, which kind of got him into computers. And he took donations and his stuff, and he set up this home computer museum, and it was successful. And Nostalgia Nerd interviews Bart in here talking about it. This is their new digs. So he was trying to raise some money, and they got a little bit of money from the local city government, and they got some donations of equipment. They got quite a bit of some donations of money, but it wasn't enough to do too much. And then another donor came in and said, basically, I will finance this whole thing because I think this is a really cool idea. Apparently, the guy has lots of money, and actually funded this entire new building, basically. And it's much, much larger than the old one, and there's hands-on stuff. Now, Rob had pointed out a couple of bits with the Coco being mentioned, so I'll just kind of fast forward. So I'm going to find the first one here.
4s, Tandy Color Computer 3s. Look at all this equipment. Tandy 1000. This is a huge gathering.
And you can see how big the facility is compared to
machines.
the old one.
Apple II GS. This thing, look at this. Looks like it's have a nuclear 2000 here. Apple Macintosh 20th anniversary.
It's like a model
over there. We've got
right there.
TRS-80. This is a TRS-80 Model 16B, which came after Model 2. Don't touch that. That's my computer.
Yeah, I'll fast forward a little bit.
That's a candy
further.
store.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If I ever get to Europe again, that's one place I'll be trying to visit.
Yeah.
A little bit too far there.
I love the hyped up, the hyped up UK accent.
There's Puyan, you can see.
Oh, yeah.
On the left, on a Coco 3 with one of the older prototype Coco STCs without a case, and with fixed pallets.
Rob Inman says, keep playing. Oh, that's neat. A lot of TRS-80 stuff. Yeah.
That's cool.
And then a little later, I'll just fast forward to where he interviews Bart about how he kind of got into all this.
I'm a weird guy. I started with Tandy, so my first computer I've ever touched was a Tandy TRS-80 color computer too. Then a few years later, we received our first IBM clone, which was also called Clone.
Clone?
Clone. That's basically the Dutch
That's actually the name of the machine. It's KLOON, which literally, apparently in the native language, means clone.
Clone.
So they just called the computer a clone. Did you guys want me to play a bit more of the interview, or?
I don't know. What do you think, panel? Want some more?
I'm game for it. Yeah, sure.
Oh, is it? It's just called Clone.
Yes.
It's like, what should we call it? It's Clone. That'll do.
I was always interested in computers, and at some point I saw this Philips P2000C standing there, and I thought, let's try it. Let's see what I can do. I was around 10. So I bought it for 10 guilders. I dragged it to home, 10 kilos.
Wow.
On my bike.
Well, on a bike? Bloody hell.
And then suddenly people start to give me all these computers. And at first, it was the first computer I got, I think was an MSX. Then somebody gave me an Amiga 600, and that's where the shit happened, because that was the most beautiful machine I've ever seen. The Amiga 600. By the time I was 16, I had 35 computers.
When you had friends over, we just like,
yeah, I didn't have 16 by the time I was, or 25 by the time I was 16.
I have friends.
You know, I thought it was a long shot. So how did you get the funds together to start the...
I did the Kickstarter, and it failed. Out of the blue, I got a call from a guy, and he said, and I really loved your idea, so I'm going to invest the full amount of money in you.
What?
So you can get this museum up and running. And together with my own money, and I got a little money from the local city council. We got a little bit of money, not much, but in total we had about 25,000 euro to start. The museum.
Wow.
It was really hard work. Absolutely, it was crazy, and I had so many pain.
This would have been the video from when we shot.
Original location.
As soon as they knew what we were planning, people started to donate by themselves. So I think about the time we opened, we had 400 computers. The last count we did, we were at 1,500.
Wow. Is this the only storage area you have? Is this, yeah. It looks like you're probably going to need to expand it again quite soon.
This looks like David's bedroom.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
This is
yes, it does.
And it was made. The entire case is made by a guy, and he really did his best. Everything.
An expansion bus for Commodore.
Yeah, but there's a Commodore's MPI.
This cardboard fan holder.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And this one was meant to.
It's
copy.
a VIC 20.
It was only the only purpose it had was to copy cartridges.
Oh really?
Yeah, they went to fairs and just copy cartridges.
So was this used in the 80s or something? Just
yeah.
Did I hear you right? Did I hear you saying that you're gonna make a copy of a game without paying?
The old anti-piracy ad.
There's just so much to see here. Too much to condense into a reasonable length video. I mean, look at this Commodore Media Tower. This is a device from 2006, shortly after the Dutch company Ronimo Media Ventures had nabbed the Commodore brand from Tulip Computers. It comprises of a dual-screen tower with a Windows-based PC running below the surface. The idea was a one-stop media kiosk, serving up music and films, all downloadable on request. A user would walk up, choose what to download, connect their Commodore Navigator media device, and off they go. It wasn't that successful, and only a handful were made, which makes it all the more desirable.
Neat.
Behind that is a device for printing vinyl
try to
characters.
find- there was one
I love
Mega
it has all
system that
these
we
individual
showed earlier that
font
he explained what
cartridges
it was for.
inside.
I can
You know,
find it.
this is the eclectic kind
Here we
of
are.
random and rare old technology. It was this giant hulking thing. Wait, what is this?
What's this keyboard?
This is actually a Dutch computer. And the original...
How do you pronounce it? Athletides?
I like your pronounce. I don't know, because the guy who created it is dead. So
okay.
I call it the Alstedas.
Okay.
Because I have no idea. This is created by a person called Mr. Klaassen. He was born in 1922, and in Eindhoven he created
Those
his
little
own
screens
computer
down there?
design company.
What was that?
Just to design
There's little
the walls.
screens down there above the
Then
keys.
he moved to Hilversum.
Yeah, I think
in
so.
Hilversum in the 70s, he found out that there was a lot of requests for digital design, so computer-aided design. And there was no computer back then who was able to do that. And we're talking about the Apple II, the PET 2001, the Tandy TRS-80. They were just not capable of doing design. So he found a few very, very smart people, and he put together a computer with his idea to have a designer sit behind the desk and start to design without any knowledge of computers. 1980, the first machine was released, the first Alstedas, having 10 Motorola 68000 CPUs.
Wow.
It had 3 color monitors, the same monitors as there are here. You can display 16 million colors. There are 3 green screens on the bottom. They
those are
show
displays.
data.
Yep.
And the original Alstedas had an 8-inch drive. And this one is the second one, and has the 3.5 inch. And this one has 68020s inside, including the FPUs, the 68882.
How many does it have?
4.
4 32-bit processors.
Yeah. There's
So-
also a keyboard in here. Don't say this is not a keyboard, the main keyboard. There's one over here.
Wow.
How clicky is this?
That's really elaborate. I bet that was worth a fortune in its day.
Oh yeah.
The
Especially for
original
1980.
Alstedas cost
Yeah.
no less than 300,000 guilders.
There you go.
Still talking about 1980 at that point.
Which,
Wow.
what does that translate to?
Roughly, I'd say €500,000.
And that's without inflation.
Far out.
That's with
€500,000. Wow.
That's like $1 million. That's nearly $1 million Australian.
So the idea is we've got the drawing area.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's in really good shape too for something.
It's
you
like
know,
a
from the
trillion
early
in
80s.
Canadian.
It's the hardware version of Photoshop.
That's Donkey King money.
We've got a bank of draw.
This is cool. All right. I think we've probably seen enough. Though.
Yeah. I do want to show that because that's, I mean, 68000 is a
an
cousin of
amazing
us. So.
system. That is.
Oh, I'd love to see
Have we
that thing in
posted the
action.
link to just this video? Because everybody should watch this. A lot of cool candy in this candy
It's posted.
store here. Okay.
Yeah.
That is an amazing machine.
Yeah, it is. And the guy was born in 1922 and he built this in the early 80s. So, I mean, he was already, you know, coming up on 60 years old when he designed this.
Yeah. What a visionary.
Yeah. And next up, the last one. And this is one that David just added right during the show, actually, because I hadn't seen it. And David, if you're still on, you probably can explain this. I didn't get a chance to read it or anything. So do you want to kind of take it away on this?
Well, for those people that have 3D printers or who knows who have 3D printers, these 2 files that Scott uploaded are replacement internal arms for the deluxe Coco joysticks. Because a lot of the plastic in the deluxe joysticks is getting very old and brittle, and I'm sure there's a lot of deluxe joysticks that have the broken internal arms. And these are the files needed to print replacement arms.
What are you calling an arm?
Is that the handle or something internal, or what is an arm?
The internal arms that
Let you
sadly-
lock the axes?
No,
There's
there's
one that you can't lock the axes anymore.
the
arms are
handle
connected.
that you use to, the stick.
Yeah.
When it goes inside the joystick, there's 2 arms that connects to for each.
Oh, the X and
pot.
Y axes arms. Okay.
The X and
Yes.
Y kind of pot
And
pullers.
right, and these are the replacement arms that go to the pots.
Okay.
Now, do they have
And-
any plans to do as Nick was saying? Because one thing that one of my joysticks is it's got the problem too. Those switches that switch between free float and spring back
The
get
locks.
worn and they break, and then you can't control it anymore. Is there any talk about getting that duplicated as well? That'd be awesome.
The only way to find out is maybe to someone on Facebook to post that request to Scott and see if he would be willing to
Can you
create
do that on
the-
my behalf, Dave? I'm not a hardware guy, so if you ask me questions, I'll be lost.
Oh, Lordy.
I think a few of us have got the old joysticks, the deluxe ones that's wearing off and it keeps popping out, or you have it on spring back and all of a sudden you move it hard left and all of a sudden it pops back to free float or something.
I thought I had the market cornered on broken deluxe joysticks, but I
No,
guess I was wrong.
I've got I think 2 or 3 here out of 5 that are broken in some way.
Yeah, I've got a couple deluxe joysticks myself that, well, actually I changed that 3 because a person that's in the club here, I acquired a joystick from that when he was transporting the joystick was in the bottom of the box. And of course, well, the stuff that was sitting on top of it just broke those arms on
crushed
the
it.
inside.
Mm.
So
I was really fortunate with my deluxe joysticks. I got 2 brand new in box and still in their plastic wrap, still hadn't been unwrapped.
Wow.
But I think that's a really good use of 3D printing. Like there's a lot of these, joystick controllers or paddle controllers or various other things that the Coco used that is just plastic. And now that we have these 3D printers, we can start to repair these, even if the parts are no longer available, the company's out of business. As long as you can do the schematic for it for a 3D printer, you can actually start fixing all these things.
well, if you like, I could bring up what they look like.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing because actually that's my last news segment, so I'll let you do that.
Okay, so let me, hopefully this goes well. Zoom and share screen and there, share. Okay, can you see it?
Yep.
Yep, certainly can.
Oh,
All
yes.
right.
I have plenty of those broken laying around.
So those are the arms that go on the inside of the deluxe joystick. And as you can see,
I've
you
never
just
seen
print 'em.
those parts before.
Well, take the screws off your deluxe joystick and you'll see those on the inside.
I bet.
At your own risk.
Now, is there similar parts inside the color mouse and the deluxe color mouse?
I have no idea because I've not taken them apart, or at least not in a time frame that I can remember.
I usually don't have to take the joystick apart to find out. I just shake it, and if it rattles a lot, good chance those are broken.
Yeah, no, the Black Beauties aren't going to have arms like that because those arms were based on the fact that you could go into like a free floating mode or a spring loaded mode. The Black Beauties are basically just a ball in a socket, basically, and the two shafts going to the potentiometers.
Are those plastic as well, or are they metal?
I think
John?
they're metal in the Black Beauties, aren't they?
I'm assuming they're probably just metal because there's just a potentiometer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Pretty sure they're like a little metal with a slot cut in it.
Yeah,
that's neat.
I use that same Cura software on my 3D printer too.
What's kind of interesting there is that there must have been obviously different versions of the deluxe because he's showing a U shape there with an L shape. And here, I mean, I know he's sharing that if you guys can, but in mine, I have one that the bottom is off of right now, and my deluxe has just 2 L shape, and that's it.
Well,
Hold it up again.
He designed replacement arms that probably work best for 3D printers. So I don't know.
Robert Murphy in the chat saying the U shape is newer, so apparently they switched the design at some point.
I think they were too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Actually, if you stop sharing, David, we can get Brian to show what his
on,
alternate one looks like.
And I'll need Brian to keep talking and other people to be quiet so we don't take away his video.
Here's the.
All right, I'll just close it because for some reason I couldn't get the screen back.
All right, let me spotlight Brian. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Looks like they're both curved.
Yeah, they're both kind of that.
The L
Yeah.
shape, not a full U. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep. And this one here is a the TRS-81.
Oh, okay. Doesn't even say Tandy.
So that's the original 1-button deluxe?
Oh, there's 2.
Oh, okay.
I would have thought the U-shaped one would have been stronger.
Because it's kind of like an arc.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that. 'Cause
that
with the that U shape, it would have gone around and maybe it would have supported on both sides versus just the one. Yeah, yep, that would make sense.
So maybe that's the original, and the U-shape was the newer one.
Yeah, maybe when they rebranded them as Tandy versus TRS-80, as Robert Murphy was mentioning. I just think it's really cool. Like 3D printers, when they first announced them, I thought, well, who wants to do these little cheap melted plastic things to try to fix some metal piece? But actually, there's so much stuff that was made of plastic back in the day. You can replace all kinds of things now. You repair a bread machine, you can repair a joystick. It's whatever you.
When you think about it, it's kind of like the FPGA for parts.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
I've heard of someone printing a missing Lego piece from a Lego kit. And like
with
one piece
with
is
rounded
missing.
edges, so it doesn't hurt when you step on it.
Wasn't about a year ago? Wasn't there a link or something on Facebook or something for the little tabs on the bottom, the little lock mechanisms that we were talking about? I thought somebody had done those at one time. Is my memory right or wrong on that?
Have no idea. I didn't see it in the file section, but unfortunately with Facebook, good luck finding stuff unless you know exactly how it was worded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have something news related to that dragon thing that Curtis was showing earlier.
The demo?
Yeah. It runs perfectly on a Coco 2. Or at least in MAME, I'm running it and it runs fine. Timing is off a little bit different, slightly different. And the way they did the audio is there's a cassette file that has the binary, but there's also an MP3 that has the binary file audio, and then immediately following that, the MP3 audio. So you apparently, load it like into an MP3 player and load it as a cassette file and just execute it. So, and it turns the motor and the audio on and just keeps playing the audio.
There's a WAV and an MP3 version, depending which one you download. So if you want to transfer it to a real tape, you can do that as well with the WAV version, because it just has the audio output, and whereas the MP3 is obviously compressed format. That's if you're loading it from a phone or something. Yeah.
So they did the audio like on a synthesizer or however they did it, and then just tacked it on to the end of the binary file. And when it executes, it just keeps playing the audio source, and so the music comes in off that. But it runs like a top. I mean, if you want to see it, I can share my screen real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got it loaded up and
Wouldn't
ready
mind
to
seeing
go.
the speed difference between the two. So
yeah, it does. Now I'm not going to have the music. I could try and sync the music along with it, but
no, it's fine. I just we know what the music sounds like. So
yeah, let me see here. How do I share? Start share, and let's see, desktop. Okay, can you see my desktop?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I'll see if I can do this here, and then I don't know if you can hear my audio.
No.
No. Okay. Then so you can see the speeds a little bit different.
Faster.
Yeah, a little faster, and the text part is a little slower. It seems like. But yeah, this is a Coco 2 in MAME, and it runs right out of the box perfectly,
Neat.
all the way to the end and everything.
I wonder which VDG it's emulating, because the font looks like it's very formatted to the top of
It's
a character
higher, so
cell.
that might be a T1.
That might be a T1.
Yeah.
Did you do Coco 2B or Coco 2?
I think I did 2B.
Yeah, that's the T1.
Yeah, it's
That'll be
T1.
the T1.
Is that what the difference is between 2 and 2B?
Yeah, the 2B's got the T1 VDG of lowercase, and the fonts are not aligned the same as the original.
2B or not 2B?
Yes.
It's to give descenders on the lowercase, or
Yeah.
space rather for the descenders.
I'm gonna later on. I'm gonna run it on my real hardware just to see it running on the real hardware.
It probably won't run on a Coco 3 though, because of the VDG mode here with the.
It didn't, because when I first ran it, I ran MAME.
You
I
can
had
make
the-
it run. You can make it run, but you do miss out on that text effect, and one of the text colors. You just have to do a poke beforehand to activate SG12 mode, and then the rest of it runs normally.
Yeah, the
Oh, I
dragon
see
looks
what you're
good
saying.
there. That graphic.
Yeah. So I thought that was neat. It ran just right out of the box. It must not be relying on anything ROM wise. It's just in that respect, the Dragon and the Coco are identical. They both use 6809. They both use the SAM and the VDG and all that. So if you're not relying on ROM or anything, for the most part, unless there's some interrupt issues, for the most part, it's pretty close to identical. But there you go. Let me stop sharing here.
Very cool.
One follow-up question I had with the first item that you had there with Jim Brain's keyboard interface. I haven't gone to look at the video yet, but would you have to throttle back the baud rate? Could you actually feed the characters too quickly? And
that you have to
Coco-
ask Jim. I don't know too much of the
Okay.
details as far as pushing it to the limit. Is he still in the chat? He might be. Maybe he can answer that.
That's
all the
an interesting
news.
question.
That's
That's an interesting question because it's piping it in through the keyboard interface, right?
Yeah.
So it's not using the serial port, so it's not confined to the limits of the serial.
It'd be the limits of BASIC itself, how fast I can interpret the key presses.
Yeah. Well,
Jim's saying he did have to slow it down for the input.
Yeah, I was going to say
BASIC's
it's not
probably
going to
too
be
slow.
if BASIC's involved, it's going to be pretty slow.
Yeah, you have to get a real operating system like Nitrous 9 to keep up, obviously. So,
Yeah, the keyboard interrupts, not the interrupt, the keyboard polling routines in BASIC were very inefficient.
yeah, well, they improved them in one of the later ROMs too. So it depends what ROM you have too.
Jim's answering the questions now. He's saying he's found a few issues. One, you have to keep a key pressed long enough to register, which is around 30 milliseconds for down, and then 30 milliseconds for up. So a total of 60 milliseconds for one full keystroke.
Yeah, they do that because there's a deep bounce routine built into it, so you don't get multiple triggers on each key press.
Right. Right. And somebody on Facebook was working on rewriting the debounce routines for the Coco because I guess they were really inefficient.
Yeah, he's also saying another delay in BASIC is BASIC takes long after you hit return because of course that's the process the line
It has to
itself and
interpret
tokenize
the
it.
whole thing. Yeah.
He said that takes like up to 200 milliseconds after every return.
Wow. Yeah.
Still a lot better than typing it by hand, I'll say.
Yeah, well, 200
Just wanna-
milliseconds that's a fair delay.
I want to welcome Diego to the room.
Oh, hi Diego. Sorry, I didn't even see you came on.
Diego, good to see you, man. How you doing?
Hey,
Lurking
Diego.
in the shadows.
Pardon me?
Lurking in the shadows.
Lurking in the shadows. That's all right. A little creepy, but that's okay. Glad you're here with us, man.
Hey, Diego, we're going to be doing our Game On segment next. And we've been pretty consumed with Donkey King this week.
No.
So I didn't get a chance to look at the preview you sent me, but would you like to talk about any updates on your current game project?
Well, I mean, the game it's ready. I missed the live show last week, and it was just a few days later that I saw it on YouTube, and that people actually seem to prefer one of the screen 1.0 color, the green, blue, and yellow.
Okay, just for my OCD purposes, do you want to roll the Game On credits? Switch over to the Game On
Well,
segment?
we're not starting yet. I was just.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I was just kind of prepping Diego when we switched to Game On. Would he like to?
Yeah, let's lead with Diego then, because then he can kind of give us the update.
All right. Well, then we're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll come back with Game On. All right.
And guest host again, Nick Marotta for part of it.
Yes. All right. So we'll be back after this commercial break.
A whole new approach. Faster than ever. A window to a world of possibilities. Clear your expectations. Clear your hesitation. Just hit clear.
Download EOU today at lcurtisboyle.com.
We will return after these messages.
Hi, I'm Terry Steen, author of Balloon Fire and other amazing games on the color computer. And you're listening to Stevie Stroh on CoCoTALK.
At GSoft, we make games for the TRS-80 color computer, TRS-80 MC10, and Dragon computers. Our basic games cover the range of genres from arcade, to text adventures, to simulations, to 3D dungeon crawls. This is our latest puzzle game from Japan, Fruit Panic. So come on and drop by our website and download our latest games.
My fellow Americans, Australians, Canadians, Europeans, and all of you ands, I'm calling on all y'all to help us make the world great again by visiting the Retro Swag Shop at 8bit256.com, where you can get yourself a coffee mug like this with a little cute cartoon character that says, I'm a cocoa nut. You could also get yourself a coffee mug like this with a Color Computer 3 that says, I'm a cocoa nut. You could get yourself a deluxe travel mug like this with the CoCoTALK logo on it. You might even be able to get yourself a DVD like this with over 2 hours of gameplay goodness. It is time for us to rise up and make the world great again by enjoying some quality retro merchandise and Coco nostalgia. So please visit 8bit256.com and let's make the world great for the color computer. Thank you very much.
CoCo2's got personality, lots of practicality, fun, it's sensational, learn it's educational. CoCo2's expandable, so easily commandable. It's programmable, so term exam grammable. Just you and CoCo2 do what you want to do.
CoCo2, the color computer with personality from Radio Shack. Sale price for Christmas giving from $149.95.
Radio Shack's CoCo2, do what you want to do. Just you and CoCo2.
CoCoTALK is brought to you in part by Placeblex Dietary Supplement. Placeblex, we think it works, so will you. Tired of switching your joystick between the left and right port? Want to change between different controllers? Well, Joey has got you covered. The Joey Controller Switch. Take control of your controllers with the flip of 2 switches. Order today at cocoman.biz.
And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gynes. Legend says, when the moon is full, if you go out in the country by the lake and whisper the name of Nick Marotta 3 times, his spirit will appear and he will grant you a product idea.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tim. Playing Dagger like that idiot from the book. You're watching CoCoTALK.
We now meet
turn you to CoCoTALK.
All right, everybody, get ready for Game On, that segment where we talk about Coco gaming, news, reviews, interviews, sneak peeks, you name it. Are you ready to get your game on? Game on, man!
All right, guys, welcome back. Yes, Game On, one of my favorite segments, because that's a big reason I wanted to get Coco hardware again, was for the gaming. So I'm going to turn it over to our resident game encyclopedia, our gaming maestro, Mr. L. Curtis Boyle.
Oh, I thought that was Stevie Stroh. Sorry, I wasn't prepared.
You'll fit in just fine then.
Well, first off, since we have a guest who just came on and is discussing his new game that's just about ready to release, we'll let Diego talk about that first.
Diego.
First unmute.
No pressure. No pressure.
Okay.
So just remind people who may not have seen the original, what is the game that you're working on and current status?
Okay, so the game, it's sort of a cross between Tetris, Bejeweled, and things like those. You have to load some cargo ships with cargo containers and balance them in the way that you don't sink the ship by putting too much weight to one side or to the other. Once you load one of the ships, it leaves the dock, the ships move, you get a new one, and speed increases a little bit. So it goes from, at first, it's kind of, you got enough time to think, but then it becomes quite fast and you got to just drop your containers where you can. And the idea of the game, it's also, I'm trying to make a single version that will work fine in Coco 1, 2, 3. And I'm trying to include some speech from the old sound speech pack.
Nice.
Cool.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. Fighting a little bit with MAME because I can't really set up my real Coco with that. I had some problems with my MPI. Last couple of times I used it, it blew my CPU, and I don't want to do that again.
Ooh,
no.
Good.
Yeah, I think I probably plugged it to 20 volts here, and the MPI was 110.
Oops.
So yeah, I gotta be a bit careful with that. And one of the challenges that I have is the color set that actually changes a lot between the color 1, 2, and color 3. Although they're supposed to be the same, they're not. They look different. And I don't have a 1 or 2 to check it. So I was going with the emulators, and they really, really, really look very different. I checked with MAME, I checked with XROAR, I checked with Mocha, and colors look so different that I was surprised. That's what I was asking everyone about, what color combination they thought will look better. If I can share my screen for a moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, good.
I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay. So can you see? Yeah.
Yep.
So this is
wow.
doing Coco 3. And here I have Mocha, and here I have XROAR.
They do all look different. Obviously,
Mocha
the one on the
actually
right looks the best.
Yeah, the one for VCC, it's actually, I'm using a custom palette for
palette hacks.
colors. So yeah, to make it look as good as possible. But as you can see, this one, I mean, the orange and the magenta or whatever, and
like cyan looks green there almost.
Yeah.
So of the two on the left, the top one looks better.
Right.
Because you can distinguish the colors a little bit.
But I think the issue Diego's hitting here is that this is the exact same
image on different emulators.
Just on each emulator is so different. Yeah.
Right. Right. And I don't know. I mean, people will play in a real computer, or will play using XROAR, or will play using one or another. And I try to, give the best to everyone. So what I did, I actually went as some of you suggested, and I made the change to the other color palette. So I'm going to play for loose here. And this is how it looks.
Okay.
And
that's not terrible.
No.
Now, did you draw that in code? Is that programmed or
That
is
is
software?
It is. It's full code.
That's really good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of the way that I've been doing most of my games. The graphics are written in a different program, and I just save the pictures. This is something with X4. I don't know if you're hearing the system sound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So you see the colors look much closer one to the other. This is much, much better, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I agree.
Yeah.
If you're trying to
And
get
what
a
I-
consistent between them, this is the closest.
Right. So what I'll probably do is, if it's a Coco 2 or a Coco 1 or 2, I load this and I'll do the Coco 3, swap the palette, the colors, so it still looks like the way it's doing here, which I think it's the one that looks better.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. The Color Computers 3 one.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop sharing here. I'm going to share just the VCC. I'm going to show you just a little bit how it plays. This also, it's a load screen. And okay, so here I have a yellow container, which is mostly light, so I can put it close to the border. Green one, it's the lightest one, and I have to put it on the opposite side so it balances out. You see it's showing a red light, telling me that there's too much weight. Now there is still a little bit too much weight to the left. So the white one, that is the heaviest one, needs
So it's
to
kind
go.
of stop sign. Red's danger, green's okay, yellow's like halfway there.
Yeah, there. I don't think there's. Yeah, there is yellow. Yeah, yeah, that's right. So now I need to put the weight to the left.
You stack one box on top of another?
Yes, I can. If I put the white one, if I put it on the left side, it's going to be too much weight to the left. So I go to the right. You see, and I'm start loading the next.
Okay.
Now this is difficult one. I run the risk of losing already. Okay. So here I loaded one of the ships, and the weight is perfectly matched on both sides. I get an extra bonus and a new ship to load. If
So you work way from the bottom to the top.
Right. And I lost.
Yeah, that's neat.
So with every ship that you load, the time that you have to drop the next container becomes shorter. After the game's over, you get a count of how many awards or badges you got through the game. You have the bronze ones that are for 1, the silver ones that are count for 10, and you will eventually get gold ones that are count for 100. You get your score. I have a high score.
Nice.
And I have options to clear the high score table and clear the badge count. If I play again, I keep accumulating badges.
Okay.
Now, can you save the high scores to disk too, or?
Yep. Everything's saved to disk.
Nice.
That is
So
neat.
the first couple of levels are kind of slow to give you time to learn the game and like that, but then it goes faster and you have like about a second to decide where you want to drop your container and do it. Otherwise, it will just drop what it is and probably game over.
Oh, so you have to make the decision quicker as time goes on.
Right. That's
Cool.
Like Tetris.
Yeah. And you see here, you have the BAS files, which is the one that actually draws the graphics and saves to the SCR, which is just a picture. That way, the program itself is much smaller. It's easier to debug, maintain, and like that. And if somebody wants to do their own graphics, they just need to put a file and that's it.
Neat.
Yeah, hope so.
That's cool.
Diego, do you have an expected release date at this point?
I'll probably be doing probably in a couple of weeks or so. I'm going to release it, the version without the speech. Then I'll work on the speech one a little bit later. I'm having troubles with MAME trying to get it to work. Maybe I'm not understanding the instructions from the manual. It's been years. And I want to use the buffers on the speech pack.
Right.
Because I guess that's the only way that you can have it speak while code keeps running. Otherwise, you need to just push one phoneme or character or whatever at a time in the code. I want it to, have speech while playing, while the game goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going over to.
I'm looking forward to it because it's a pretty unique gameplay. I mean, it's got some similarities with Tetris and stuff, but a much different presentation. So
yeah, absolutely.
And what price point are we looking at for this?
Nothing. Nothing.
Is it the Nightmare Highway price model?
You're competing with Nightmare Highway sales.
Actually, I'm trying to make plans to be at CoCoFest this year.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
If I make it there, I'll try to have, like an SD card with all my games, printed manuals, and some stuff like that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Perhaps for $20 or something like that.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I hope you can make it.
Absolutely.
I know it's a big trip for you.
Will you be offering autographed copies?
Will be anyone wanting something like that?
Will you pose for selfies?
He did for me. So
preferably in front of a Dino Wars mural, but
yeah, right.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be there waiting.
That's what I love right now, that there's all this active development going on and we're kind of like flies on the wall as things are being worked on,
Yeah, I was the fly on the wall on an item that I don't know if I should discuss it or not, because the person who told me about it didn't say I could or couldn't, but
then when in doubt,
err on the side of caution then.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's just suffice to say it's something dealing with Coco VGA.
You let the cat out of the bag now.
That's a good teaser.
Yeah.
It's something. I have an announcement. It's something involving the Coco.
There you go.
There you go.
1, 2, or 3, or maybe all of them.
It might even run on the Coco 4 prototype.
Oh, I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Which one? The original one or the Ed Snyder one?
Yeah, this is a really neat game.
Yeah, I like it too. It's cool.
And I like how
I'm looking forward to trying it out.
got to
Tetris is
restore
my
the
favorite
background
game.
as it falls.
I don't know.
Fast,
You might
fast.
really cut into Nightmare Highway sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Fast, fast, super fast. So that's where you want the voice to come in when it says like fast, fast, fast.
Right. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I
almost
gotta-
got a full stack down there in the bottom, huh?
Yeah, I got to make sure also that, instructions are clear and easy to follow, and people who hasn't seen the game can get it. I showed it to a few coworkers and friends who really, I don't think they ever seen a Coco, and they seem to like the game, but they had some problem trying to understand how it was played and the concept behind it. So I want to make sure that I'm going to have a printed manual or printable manual, as I did with Furious Felines. So I want to make sure that everything is explained somewhat, some way that it's easy to follow.
All right, we're having technical difficulties in the live chat, not coming through into the stream now. But for those of you chatting, you know who you are.
You know what you did.
Even if we don't.
I don't know what I did.
No. So
I'm just here.
Restream chat is not picking up the feeds.
I'm just here for the free snacks that I do have to admit I have not received my free snacks yet. I'm disappointed.
Okay. Well, cool stuff, Diego. Thanks for sharing that with us. We look forward to seeing it.
Just in a few short weeks, by the sounds of it,
the
too.
final release, yeah.
And if totally wants to give it a try and maybe give some ideas or suggestions, or check the difficulty level or whatever, just drop me a note and I'll give you the disc image.
Nice.
Cool. I'll be keen to try it out with the speech pack I got now too.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah. Okay, you guys ready for the regular GameON news now that we had our special preview?
Yes.
Okay, let me do some sharing.
Sharon? Who's Sharon?
Sharon!
How you doing, Sharon?
Hey, first up, I don't know if you guys have heard, but Aaron was quite sick the last little while here, so they weren't able to record a Coco show the last, almost month. So they pulled one, and what they've done is they've pre-recorded a couple as backup plans in case something happened, which is what happened in this case. So they released one that has Canyon Climber and Puyan. Was recorded several months ago. So you can get their reviews of Canyon Climber and Puyan. And they did record a new episode on Friday on the live stream on Twitch, which will be released officially as a podcast on Wednesday on YouTube and any podcast catchers you have. And I will let Nick explain a little crossover thing we're doing with them on that. So that'll wait till his little segment comes up. Next up, because we've been having our GameON Spotlight, which is Nick's segment that he'll be doing with Donkey King this week, Alan Huffman of Subetha Software fame did some work on how to play these games on Mocha, which is an online, like we were talking about with the Dragon earlier. There's an online Coco 1 and 2 emulator that has a lot of games built into itself too. And then he goes through here and explains how to set it up and how to set it up to play, with joystick or keyboard-based joystick, etc. Running it all through the browser, and he actually gives you screenshots, shows exactly what to click on and stuff to make it really nice and easy to do. And some of the upcoming games that we'll be doing on the Spotlight are also built in here too, so you'll be able to actually play some of those as well. And so if you don't want to bother installing an emulator, you don't have the real hardware, there's an alternative here to play it online just through your browser. Now, I haven't had a chance to try the Mocha browser on smartphones. Has anybody else tried that? Does it work well on there, or is it a bit problematic trying to control it?
The keyboard is the big problem on a phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
It works, but you can't type anything on the keyboard. You can't get a keyboard. It doesn't call up a keyboard on the through the browser.
Now, if you try to do it with joystick, does it take finger swipe gestures or anything like that and try to interpret that as joystick, or does it just not run properly?
What does work, I've found, is if I plug in an external USB keyboard and mouse with a USB on the go cable. That seems to work. And you can get it to call up by moving the mouse around and clicking on something. It'll pull you don't have to pull the keyboard up because you've got a hardware one plugged in.
Okay, so that might work with my Bluetooth keyboard. Like I have a Bluetooth keyboard for my phone that I sometimes
Yeah,
use.
that's what. Yeah, I've got that here. It worked here fine with mine.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay, I'll do one mention here. I don't have any videos or anything to bring up on this, but Stevie, our own Stevie Stroh here, did a multi-hour marathons playing Donkey Kong this past week. And if you want, if say like Diego, if English is more of your second language and you want to learn all the English swear words, they're excellent videos to watch.
Something about a chainsaw. Like that's all I remember. Things to do with a chainsaw.
But it was fun. I mean, watching him improve his scores, getting really frustrated, and then actually getting better.
He did. He made good progress.
And figuring out tips and tricks. Like he got some suggestions from chat.
Yeah.
I know Alan Huffman contributed a few things. I think I might have contributed one or two. And you could see him using these new techniques and his score going up. So, I mean, it definitely worked. And part of the GameON Spotlight segment we'll be doing is to give tips and tricks. So anybody who's played in the Donkey King Challenge or has played Donkey King just on their own, it wasn't officially part of the challenge. When we get to that segment, please share your thoughts, whether through chat, which I mean, obviously it's not coming through at the moment, but we can read it offline and actually read it out loud on the air, and you guys can give any suggestions for that when we get to it. And we want to make that a regular part of the GameON segment to pass on stuff. Then people can revisit the game the following week, even though it's not the challenge that week, and see if these new tips and techniques they may not have known will improve the scores for themselves.
Absolutely.
If it can work for Stevie, it'll work for anyone.
Not a guarantee.
If it doesn't work, we're sorry.
This next one will bring up some discussion here and a little bit of a trivia contest for those who have not seen it. But Chad Edward had an excellent question that he posted on the Coco group and Facebook. Okay, many of us love movie quotes, but what are your favorite quotes from Coco games? And this is both, speech-based ones with synthesized speech, or just a phrase or something that the game throws on the screen that, as soon as you hear it, you go, oh, I know what that is. So rather than actually go through and the list here that of all the comments and there's 55 comments and counting on this, I thought it would be kind of fun for me to rattle off some of these and see if you guys recognize what games they came from.
So you're going to stop sharing so we can't see it?
Well, no, I'm not going to show you the list. I mean, it's on a totally separate screen.
It's not on screen.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one here, I hunger.
Is that Fang Man?
That's Sinistar, isn't it?
Sinistar, yeah.
Number 2, tastes terrible.
Fang Man.
Nope.
You can keep saying Fang Man.
Last time I had lunch with Stevie.
Any more guesses?
Tastes terrible.
Nah.
A deer with no eyes.
I'll give you a hint. It's a graphical adventure game.
Still a deer with no eyes and no legs.
Shenanigans?
Still no idea.
Nope.
Shenanigans or Shamrock, whatever that one was with the
nope.
Did you shoot Larry?
King's Quest. Leaves out Forest of Doom.
Well, you got half the name right there, David Sear.
What did David say?
He said King's Quest.
Space Quest.
Space Quest, or others on Space Quest.
It's not a Sierra.
Oh, there was no Space Quest.
Oh, there was, yeah.
Well, not for the Coco, I mean.
Not officially.
There is an unofficial version.
King something then?
No, the other word's part of it.
Quest.
Graphical adventure game, not by Sierra. Coco 1 and 2. I'll give you that extra hint.
Dallas Quest.
Bingo.
Oh yeah.
I just guessed. I've never even played it.
And this next one, Nick Marotta is going to have to verify that this is correct because I can't remember the exact wording. But beware the unbeatable pterodactyl.
Yes.
Yeah.
In quotes with a question.
Of course.
And yeah, okay, you got that. Fight, run, or be friendly. This one I do remember from back in the day.
Dino Wars.
Yeah, like that talked.
Yeah. Nope. Coco 1 and 2 game, I will give you that.
Pass.
Here with no eyes again.
Okay.
Pyramid.
Was it text adventure?
Well, it's text, but it's somewhat adventure and somewhat real-time RPG style, kind of.
Force of Doom?
Nope. I'll give you one more hint. It's by Aardvark.
Roadkill.
Nope.
You didn't try Fang Man yet, Stevie.
Fang Man.
Scripts it.
Well, Scripts is cheating because that could be anything.
Yeah.
Spectaculator.
It's Quest, if you've ever played that game.
Quest. That was what it was called, just Quest?
Yeah. It was one that actually randomized the map, so it actually played different every time, and you got towers, and you had to build up your troops and get your supplies and stuff. And then whenever you got into an encounter, you were given the option to fight, run, or be friendly. and try to like bribe them with coins or something. So, okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this one correctly, but I do remember this one as well. Invocare Episcopus.
Black Sanctum.
Bingo. That was an easy one. Both the
Expectro
text and the
Patronum.
graphic version. Sorry, what was that, Steve?
Sound like a Harry Potter thing, like Expectro Expelliarmus or something.
Okay, this next one, anybody who doesn't get this one should be shot in the head. We gotcha.
Mega
crap.
Bug.
Mega Fang Man. You're right.
Mega Fang Man.
Yeah, Mega Bug, obviously. And then one of my personal favorite games, and I'm going to give 3 quotes that are from that one. Prepare to die. Try again, fool. Are you still here?
What was the guess?
Photon.
Photon.
Correct. Another fairly obvious one. Welcome aboard, Captain.
Sea Dragon.
Bingo.
With the accordion. As an accordion player, I approved.
Another
In
one
fact, let me get it for you. Hold on.
And
Hurry
another
up,
one
end the
everybody
show.
should get.
Press the button.
Another one everybody should get here. And yet another does not return.
Dungeons of Daggerath.
Daggerath.
Bingo. And there's one particular person in the panel who better get this one. Angry Angelo has struck again.
Donut Dilemma.
David
I would have been
Lord's
severely
chiming in with
disappointed if
Pac-Man for every guess here. So.
I would have been severely disappointed if Nick didn't get that one.
Angry Angelo has been deported.
He got coronavirus.
Yeah. I have a hardware problem.
Marty's nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know who voiced the speech for that?
Marty?
Marty Goodman.
Nope.
Steve Bjork?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's number 2.
Well, that's David Ladd.
Really?
Yeah, playing Predator.
Really?
Oh, really?
We need to get that game and that voice in the game.
Up yours.
Okay, I have 3 left. We'll go through quickly here. You are in a dark, dense, damp jungle.
No, I'm not. I'm in my kitchen.
That's Rakatu.
Yep.
Yeah.
First try. Good move. Another one. Plague still rampant. Only Zendos knows the cure.
Fangman.
The David Ladd adventure.
It's not punny enough for Fangman there, Stevie. Sorry, what was David Ladd adventure? Nope. I'll give you my first hint. It's a graphical adventure game.
Plague runs rampant.
Plague still rampant. Only Zendos knows the cure.
The Oregon
Another clue?
Is it one of
Trail in
the ones
space?
in space? The
It is space based. Yes.
what's it called? With those weird corridors that look like a Star Trek corridors.
I'll
Is
give you
that
one
a-
more clue. It was
is it
by Mark
Fembot's
Data Products.
Revenge?
What was that, Stevie?
Fembot's
Trick-
Revenge?
Nope.
It's not Trick Bauer.
Yes, it is.
Trek Bower?
Yeah.
And the last one, this is a cross-platform one, so even people that aren't that familiar with the Coco should probably know this one, though it's an older game.
Leisure Suit Larry. Oh, sorry, you haven't said it yet.
Easy there, Leisure Suit Larry.
Fangman.
I think Stevie's hat belongs in Leisure Suit Larry, but no,
We
it's not that.
need to get a quote from Fangman for Stevie.
Tetris.
That's one they actually haven't mentioned on there, but there's so many of them because every level has a unique one.
Yeah.
You know, so it is dark. You were eaten by a grue.
I know the quote, but not the game.
Zork.
Bingo.
What was
Diego
it?
seems to know his adventure
Zork?
games. Yeah,
Ah,
Zork.
Zork. Right.
Zork.
I'm trying to remember, Steve. What were some of the ones in Fagman? Because they had a ton of them.
Oh, I don't even remember anymore. They were all good,
I know they're all vampire blood related, but
yeah.
and bad puns.
Neat.
It was an interesting discussion. So if you guys have any other favorites, either physical speech that you actually hear or text messages that the game gives that you think really sums up the game to the point where as soon as you hear it, you know what it is, post them
Yeah,
on there and let some other
absolutely.
people try to guess.
The best one I recall was
Fury by computer shack.
I that was on the list, but I mean that's obvious. It explains itself, so I couldn't use it.
I have one for you.
Oh, go ahead.
If you got it for free, you paid too much.
Nightmare Highway.
Popstar Pilot. Oh, sorry.
That's good.
Actually, Free for Computer Shack was a funny one because one person kind of being a little bit sarcastic. We had some other sarcastic answers like loading. That's a famous one. Took nowhere. Everybody hated that game. But there was one. I'm trying to remember where. Basically, so the Free by Computer Shack, but because of speech synthesis and that one was kind of rough, he actually gave his interpretation. Yeah, here it is.
That's about right.
Tasha for Megabuck. Tasha.
Yeah, IOWare. I wasn't very fond of that game.
IOWare,
especially on cassette.
There's a few of those games do that.
I like when you put Tetris into a 16K Coco 2. It says not enough memory.
Yeah, SNR, and actually, I did hit a couple of commercial basic games that actually hit that.
Tim Franklin says you're getting thirsty. What game is that from?
Oh, geez.
Sands of Egypt.
Pyramid 2000, isn't it? Pyramid.
Yeah. Oh, could
was
be.
that? Did you see that thing that someone posted? If you say print mem, if you choose print mem, it shows you how much memory there is. But if you say print memory, it returns -1 because it's
It's mem or
y. Yeah, it's oring mem with y.
Yeah, right.
Paul's infidel dog. That's another Racket 2 quote.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say that's Racket 2. Yeah, that's at the beginning when you're trying to get into the building.
Yeah, when you got the guards circling around, you have to time your
right.
I remember being absolutely shocked.
Ken mentions you're getting thirsty. Sands of Egypt.
Yeah.
I remember being absolutely shocked as a teen reading Roller Over in the Clover. That was the Shamrock game I was talking about earlier, Shenanigans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, marked that. And of course, we had the R-rated text adventure games like Madame Rosa's Massage Parlor, which I didn't want to repeat any of those. So.
No. Yeah, I guess mine was borderline. I'm sorry. There goes our family rating.
Haven't hit After Dark yet.
Anyway, that's an interesting one. Go participate in that. I'm sure that you guys can think of some other ones too.
Yeah, that's a great topic.
Next up, Alan Huffman pointed a link here to the history of Rampage. Now, this video has been out for months, and I think we might have even covered it back in the day because it basically takes the arcade game and then it compares the official ports with it. And actually, the Coco one ranked quite well.
It was a big
I think we had covered this before, like months ago. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if we did.
Because he's done multiple ones of these, and we've actually covered a few of them in the past. But it's a pretty interesting. It's a fairly long video. I'm not going to play it here, but it basically goes through the arcade game first, and then the various ports and what he thinks of them compared to the original arcade.
This was on Amigos Retro Gaming. Maybe that's why we talked about it.
Yeah, I do remember the discussion about it.
Okay. Well, man, make sure. Yeah, it looks like Fred posted the link. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Next up, another just slight discussion topic. Now, I don't know how many people here were into flight simulators, but the question came up from, and I don't know how I'm going to butcher his name here. Unless Deo, can you pronounce his name? It looks like it might be closer to your language than mine.
Queiroz.
Murilo Queiroz.
Murilo Queiroz.
There we go.
Okay. Thank you. I'm slightly less
Sound
embarrassed.
like Antonio Banderas.
No, we don't
Franklin's saying
the
goodbye.
U. When it's Q-U, we don't pronounce the U. So it's Queiroz.
Okay. Anyway, his question was, and he says, everybody knows like the Coco 3, it's not MS, it's actually Sublogic, but Coco 3 Flight Simulator 2 is amazing. But what are the best flight sims for the Coco 1 and 2? And he mentions P-51, and he was asking if there's any others. And there's been numerous ones. There's Worlds of Flight by Tom Mix, Flight 16 by Tom Mix, Instrument Flight Simulator. There's a Shuttle Simulator, which is kind of bits like that. P-51, obviously. Flight Sim 1 from Radio Shack itself. That was Greg Zumwaltz. And there's a couple others, too. There was another one by the company that Creative Software, I think it was. The guys that 80 Micro owned did another one, Mountain Pilot, I think it was called. So there's been a bunch of these. I was just wondering for anybody here who actually did play with the flight simulators back in the day for the Coco 1 and 2, what your favorites were and why.
That's
no
an area I
pilots in
didn't
the
get
audience.
into.
I always play the P-51, and I remember being able to hook up with a friend and doing player at home was amazing.
Yes.
I know it wasn't, of course, not realistic at all, but it was faster. The other ones, like Worlds of Flight and like that, you got like 2 frames a second, 3 frames a second. So with P-51 was much faster.
And you did a crossover serial cable to do that, right?
Yep. Yep.
And the neat thing about it was, if you were doing the multiplayer, there was actually a person controlling the other character, which today it's like uber common.
Yeah.
To be in a world with 30 or 40 other actually real players. But back back then it was a
Yeah, and if you actually had a modem too, you didn't need the serial cable. You actually play with somebody across the country, and it worked fine because it worked at 300 or 1200 baud. And I know some people that did play it that way.
Yeah, the one time I played it, it was a friend of mine. I worked for Radio Shack. My friend was a Radio Shack manager, and this other Radio Shack manager we knew, he was into the color computers as well. And from his house he played, and then me and my friend were at my friend's house, and we were playing P-51 over the modem.
Yeah, I mean, the Coco had a couple modem games. I know when Chet has mentioned looking at the disassembled source code for Karate by Dicom that it was originally intended to be an over the modem game, though that never got released. But we had P-51. There was a checkers, there was a chess, Othello. There's a few, and there's some online BBS style games. But it was something that P-51 I think was way ahead of its time for platforms in general, because I don't know of anybody else that was doing over the modem real time, fighting games like this back in like '84.
Yeah,
I'm aware of even on other platforms. I don't think it was common. So that was definitely
the Model 1 had a flight. Believe it or not, had a flight simulator. It simulated Curtis Jenny.
Well, I remember that, but it wasn't playable over the modem, was it?
No. It was because
that was Sublogic's very first one, was the T80 Flight Sim 1.
Yeah,
for the Model 1. I will mention, like Diego was mentioning, like Worlds of Flight and some of these other ones that were more technically flight simulators than P-51 was, did run quite slow on the Coco 1 too. But that was one nice thing on the Coco 3. They weren't VSync locked or anything. So if you did the double speed poke, they actually started playing at a pretty decent clip.
Yeah,
I should 639 one of those suckers one of these days. That'd be neat. Put that in the back of my head. Remind me after rush season's over.
Yeah, you don't have enough on your plate as it is, Curtis. You need more tasks.
I believe rush season is January through December.
January through the middle of December. I've got a couple week window there. Okay, and the next one here is Jim Gary has released an MC10 version of Pentominoes, which is actually a game you can buy in stores as a physical thing. And I've never played it, so I can't really comment on the gameplay or anything here. Is anybody else familiar with this game? I remember seeing it in Toys R Us and stuff.
I played the physical game of dominoes. It was one of my favorite games back in the
Well, it's
day.
Pentominoes. It's not regular dominoes. It's a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
Well, I assume each piece has a common, like the W's form one piece, the I's form another.
And it looks like maybe you have to connect with the ones of the same letter that you're selecting or something. I'm not sure how that works.
Isn't it kind of like a real life Tetris or something that you have to actually put the pieces together in the shape, something like that?
Sure. I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Anyway, there's another, from the thousands of games that Jim Gary's ported.
This is our game for next week.
Yeah.
And that's the last of the regular GameON news I got. Now, up next is a brand new segment that Nick Marotta is in charge of called the GameON Spotlight or a GameON Spotlight Challenge. I don't even know if that's iron and
Or
stone.
GameON Challenge. You can call me Ray. You can call me Jay. I don't know what we call it, but doesn't matter.
The Nick Marotta Fun Hour. That's what we're going to call it.
That's right. And it was fun. I really want to thank everybody who who joined in. It really reignited my love for Donkey King. I forgot how much I love that game.
Now, Nick, before we get too into the actual gameplay here, do you want to kind of explain how the idea came about, what it is, in case anybody has not seen CoCoTALK in the last week?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not quite sure how the idea was spawned by one of our chat frequenters, and he's also on Discord, Mr. Dave 6809, who actually lives not too far from me. He's a really good guy, and yeah, he just threw in the idea. It'd be really cool to have some sort of a gaming competition, and we just kind of were talking back and forth, and through chatter and Discord and that, and yeah, the idea was born from that. So every week we choose a game, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. But every week we choose a game, and the challenge, it's just a friendly competition. There's no prizes. It's just bragging rights and just sort of just. I found it a lot more fun to play when I knew I was kind of like competing for scores against other people. And I ended up playing Donkey King a lot this week. So yeah, so every week we'll choose a game, and it'll be the game of the week, and you just play it, post your high scores, and we will talk about them on the following show.
I also want to mention too that we want to concentrate on the high score. Like getting the high score is not the primary purpose. We want to get people to try these old Coco games that they may not have tried before or may not have tried in decades, like me. But basically encouraging people to pick the old games out and start playing them, and post that you've played them. And if you don't get the highest score, it's not a big deal.
And we did start with a high-profile game. Donkey King was definitely one of the top-tier games. We're hoping to visit all kinds of games that can be, measured, kind of thing. So, yeah. So this week we actually had 11 people who played. So I'm just going to mention them real quick alphabetically. This has nothing to do with score. This is alpha. By their handles, we had Alan C. Huffman, Ben VR Drakes, Boat of Car, who is John from the Amigos Retro Gaming podcast, Just Mike, Al Curtis Boyle? Yeah, Al Curtis.
Never heard of him.
I'll skip that useless git.
Lee, Mr. Dave 6809, who is the inspiration for this, Nico 68, who is me, OG Stevie Stroh, Rob Inman, and the Devil Bunny, who is Aaron from Amigos Retro Gaming. So we had the Amigos Retro Gaming guys.
Oh, we lost Nick.
Oh. I thought it was really cool. Hello?
Nick,
You're
we
back.
lost you for about 5 seconds there. So you were just mentioning that we had the Amigos gamers there. Nope.
Can hear you now, Nick. No, he's gone again.
He's in.
Can't hear me?
Sometimes we can.
You're
Part of
going.
Canada-
If you can hear us, you're going in and out, Nick.
Part of Canada's underwater.
Currently out.
The half of Canada that Al Curtis Boyle is not in is underwater.
So Nick, if you can hear us, maybe just hang up and call back in and see if the straighten the connection out.
Nick, test one.
He's
All
going.
right, so how about we do this? Nick,
Hello?
Nick, you're back.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, we got your video back too. So I think it's
Okay,
working.
good. Yeah, I had an internet issue problem earlier. Did you hear me get through the list of 11?
I think you just finished off with Aaron and then you cut out.
Okay, so after Aaron, we have, no, that's it. Aaron was the last one on the list. So those are the 11 that took part. And we now have a video, which is going to show the top 10 scores. This video is made by Rob. So if we could go ahead and roll that video, that'd be great.
You got it. What was that score Curtis had? Hold on. I need to start over. Plus, the sound wasn't there.
I see myself on Zoom. I don't know if that.
What the hell was that score that Curtis had?
I think Stevie's envious.
Let's try this again.
I see myself on Zoom. It's
126,900. 73,005. Nick Maroon. 58.8. In third place.
On the
You
middle
made good
podium.
progress, Stevie.
Just like number 4. 5. Alan Huffman, 46.3. Mr. Dave came in at number 6.
Yes, sir.
That's Aaron, right? The Devil Bunny?
Yep.
Yes. Aaron from Amigos Retro Gaming.
Lee?
Cool music. Love it.
Yeah, it's video.
Mandrake?
And he's playing the green version.
Zero.
Chicken.
Or is that just describing Grant in general? That's my question.
I tied with Grant.
Yeah, me too.
See, this particular graphic I'm not too fond of because it looks like I've faked something up to make it look like I'm entering a high score because it's not just a plain green screen.
So I do know that Curtis knows a magic poke to give you as many lives as you want. I'm not saying he used it.
I didn't.
He knows
You,
what
if
it
you
was.
watch the video, I put video evidence here that actually starts with 3 men. And you only get 3 men every 20,000. So
it was really fun, and we were kind of leapfrogging. I mean, Curtis had to score, and I had one higher than him, and he promised he wasn't going to play anymore this week. He was too busy, and then he leapfrogged me last night, which I thought was really cool. It was fun.
it was unexpected. I was mentioned on the pre-show. I had to run my mom to a bunch of doctor's appointments and stuff, and it ended up because doctor's offices are always late. I was out for like 3.5 hours. And by the time I got back around 7:30 at night, I was starving. And normally I just nuke something quick and get back to work, and I just was too hungry. So I decided to cook a real meal, which had to sit in the oven for 45 minutes. So I said, well, I might as well throw it in a couple of games at Donkey King while I'm here, not expecting to get a decent score. In fact, my first game, I didn't even make the top 10, the built-in. I didn't even make 11,000. But by the fourth game, I had that one. And then my supper was ready. So that was the end of that. But
wow.
So I know your video. I know you made a video, but I haven't seen it. Do you remember what level you made it to?
Well, I wrapped past the Pie Factory. I got to the second elevators. Somewhere, I can't remember the exact. The fourth round or something, or fifth round.
Where you were obviously trying to maximize score, get as many barrels and all that kind of.
Well, I was doing a mixture of both. On the earlier levels, I was trying to get the score, and I have some different techniques for that. And when we get to the part where we're discussing tips and tricks, I'll go into a bit more detail there. But on the later levels, yeah, it was just survival at that point because there's too much going on. You get more barrels, you get more fireballs, even on the rivet screen, up to like 6 at a time you're having to dodge. So it's a bit of a different gameplay than on the earlier levels.
Well, do we want to talk tips and tricks, and then we can do the preview for next week and the outro for the segment? Does that sound good?
Yeah. First thing I want to say thanks to Mr. Dave for bringing this up. The game
fun.
of the week, right?
Yeah.
So that's just a great example of somebody watched a show, gave us a suggestion, and this thing took on a life of its own. We all got involved. We were playing with our Cocos. We were playing together. It was this big collective experience.
Well, even when you were playing, Stevie, we had quite a few people watching in Discord, and I mean that was fun.
This became
and you got multiple tips and tricks that you actually tried, and then you actually figured out some new ways of doing them that we hadn't thought of. So
the douche move, as Stevie was calling it, until he started using it, and then all of a sudden it became cool. Well, I don't know how that works.
So this was just a great seeing the community come together, having fun. The spirit of just good times. So
and that was
great
the goal.
Suggestion.
Honestly. That's the goal.
Yep. So thanks, Mr. Dave, for doing that. And I hope this continues and becomes a thing and gets us all more involved and engaged and connected.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I'd also like to thank Ken Reichert for saying, sure, L. Billy Mitchell. To me.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to make the Billy Mitchell joke. Thank you for doing that, Ken.
And isn't Nicholas Morentes going to show you how to use Photoshop to achieve high scores?
Yes.
Putting in all the time.
How about before we get into tips and tricks, why don't you go ahead and tease or announce what the game challenge is going to be for next week?
Okay, sure. We can definitely do that. So our game this week is actually inspired through a crossover with Amigos Retro Gaming. Their next show will be dropping sometime this week.
Wednesday.
But one of the games they did is the game that we are going to be doing next week, which, I was going to show it on can I show it in VCC or?
You can. I have to stop sharing. Go ahead. Drum roll.
Can you see that?
Ooh,
Doodlebug. That's it's another arcade conversion. It's a very good conversion. You can see Amigos Retro Gaming review on that game, and as Curtis said, their next episode will be dropping on Wednesday. So if you go to youtube.com/Amigos Retro Gaming. So this is the game we're doing. We're going to be doing crossovers with them once in a while. So so we're going to do 6 lives.
Is that maximum?
It's selectable with the joystick, and we want to pick one that's going to be okay with digital or analog. So we figured either extreme. So 6 lives will be the what you choose to play, and highest score. And again, we have all week to play it.
Yep, and you can play it on emulators, including the Mocha one we highlighted here that you can play online. You can use VCC, MAME, XWAR, etc. You can use Real Coco 1, 2, or 3. If you find the cassette version, it'll work on a 16K Coco, and I think the disc version requires 32K, if I remember correctly. It's written by David Crandall and from Computerware originally.
I cannot find my Zoom window to stop sharing. Can you make me stop sharing?
I'm going to see about that right now. Yeah.
I haven't checked yet, but I guess that's on the SDC images.
Oh yes, it's in the usual places. Yep.
Yep.
And there's also that's right. It works on the Coco 3 and everything, so there's no problems there.
Yeah, and there's a clone of Ladybug from the arcade, just in case you didn't know, if you're not familiar with the arcade game.
Right.
And there's actually, if you watch the Amigos Retro Gaming, they have some strategies on scoring, and then I'm sure we'll discover our own as we go.
I will mention too, for people that are on Twitch, the place that is famous for sharing live gameplay and stuff. And I think a few people on our panel are on Twitch. If you can want to watch the full 3.5-hour recording of all their shows they record on Friday, which is the Amiga show for the Amiga itself, and then they've got the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, and then they've got the Coco show. So if you fast forward, you can actually watch it before Wednesday if you want to kind of check it out beforehand.
With pretty funny banter in between each one.
Yeah, there's a lot of pre and post bonus show on the live stream version that you don't get on the truncated podcast version. So
earlier in the live chat, Robert Murphy was asking, I wonder if Sockmaster is going to examine the video frames of L. Curtis Boyle's high score. So.
I heard he
used Billy Mitchell. Yeah,
he used MAME. I don't know what that.
Yeah,
it's going to be like the Zapruder film, frame by frame.
MAME is allowed on this one.
I won it from the Knoll. That's what I did. Yep.
It should be on the Color Computer Archive, Robert.
It's called Doodle.dsk.
Yeah, Doodle. And so not to confuse myself, I'm going to try not to play Buzzard Bait again this week by mistake. I think maybe I'll play Lancer by mistake instead. I'm not sure yet.
That would be the better choice.
What about the Phantom Riders?
This debate will rage on forever.
No, it's going to rage.
Buzzard Bait.
It's going to rage on until November, because both Nick Marotta and I have birthdays in November. So on his birthday, we're going to spotlight Buzzard Bait, and then on my birthday at the end of the month, we'll spotlight Lancer, and then we'll let the public decide.
And maybe we'll throw Phantom Riders in one of the other weekends in that month to call it.
Yeah, we can kind of like a theme it.
Joust Clone
Month. Never hear the end of this. Never.
even if we would have
thrilled about that, Marco. It will not resolve anything. It'll just be for fun.
We want to talk about tips and tricks on
so what kind of tips and
strategies
tricks you guys find? I thought I was smart because I discovered the one about the score. When you jump barrels and pop the rivets is related to the last 3 digits of your timer. But apparently Stevie knew that even back in the day. So
yeah, I did too.
That was not a well-known task.
I knew that, and I assumed the arcade was like that too, and it turns out it's not. So that's a Donkey King exclusive.
So when we're going for score like we were this time, that's a valuable, because obviously if the timer is at ends in 000, you might want to wait a tick and then get more points.
Yeah, you turned me on to jumping the first barrel out of the gate that turns into the fireball. So you suggested that, and I started doing that. that gives you 800 points right away. And then Alan Huffman mentioned you could kind of jump that fireball a couple of times, and you get like 3 to 4 jumps, depending on how you time it, out of the gate. So I've actually gotten like 3,400 points, making it to the first ladder to get to the second tier. That's
like if you let the fireball
insane.
come close to you and then start jumping it as
Just
it's
keep
following
jumping.
you.
Yeah, you can get 3 to 4 jumps sometimes.
Yep.
So it's a great way to start.
Yeah, that trick I knew about the backwards jumping. I haven't done any of the ones I've done there, for competing on this one. But that one where you actually went to the left towards the fire pit before the barrel, that I've never seen that before. I never tried that. I always did the go to the right side and then backwards jump to get the bonus points once the fireball is launched. But jumping the initial barrel there from the left, I'd never done that before. So that was a new one on me.
I think Alan said the same thing.
Yeah, well, I came. You said you jumped it. I wasn't sure how. That's the method I came up with. So
yours is a lot more reliable and easier. So
yeah.
I'd take a step to the right and then just jump straight up when the barrel is in the right place, and you get the points for it. But you took it. You took it a different direction, which was cool.
I mean, I have a bunch of tips and tricks I'll give, but I'll let you guys discuss yours first, and then if I'll chime in if it's something similar to something I have. But I'll let you guys all go first here.
I do have one. It's called Don't Die. Don't do what Stevie does.
Actually, you know what? Stevie got his gaming reputation back in those one. He ended up, on the medal podium with a bronze medal.
Yeah.
3rd place, and he kept improving every time he played because he was, trying to get past 50,000, and he managed to beat that. And at the time he was going for that, I think both Nick and our scores were lower than 50 at that point. So
your
you
first
actually
high
did
score was like around 48,000. So my first goal was to get 50 to beat that.
And you did accomplish it. It's just that in the meantime, Nick and I both beat it. So. But mission accomplished. You did it. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's a. Oh, I discovered that I fired up The King just for fun, and I noticed there were definitely differences in it. And then Stevie, you mentioned in the interview with I'm sorry, his name's escaping me.
Chris Latham.
That he mentioned that he tweaked some things between Donkey King and The King besides the title. Like for example, the very first barrel that Donkey drops on Donkey King, he drops it right away. On the King, he waits a clock tick, like a timer tick. So he definitely tweaked some things between the two games. So,
and a big shout out to the crossover within our own show is to go watch the Chris Latham interview. That is a fascinating interview. It's
I watched it again the other day. There's so many stories and anecdotes that Chris had.
And he joined us one of the nights that Stevie played. Yeah. Chris actually joined us in chat, and he was he couldn't believe that 40 years later we're still getting enjoyment.
My favorite quote of that whole when Chris actually joined at the tail end of one of Stevie's playthroughs is that Alan Huffman says, "I hate this game," because he was getting killed a lot. He was trying to play it simultaneously, and then Chris pipes in, "I hate you too."
But that video with Chris Latham, I didn't see that until just a few months ago, and that's a great video. And just a little teaser with that one is also, isn't there there's a actual some unknown previously unknown information about Sailor Man that he also
cheat
wrote.
Code in Sailor Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's worth checking out the video just for that.
And speaking of simulations, he mentioned how him and his uncle worked on a nuclear power plant simulation for a Rainbow
Magazine
thing. And they'd gotten all of their algorithms from a guy who worked on a real plant. And the simulation was later used by somebody to teach classes.
I remember that you dropped the uranium rod in the.
So that was a cool story.
Yeah,
I think I remember that.
February 1983, Rainbow, if I remember correctly, might have been March. Is where that is in, and it's partly machine language, partly basic, but it's based on, like Stevie said, real nuclear reactor, and they actually did use it to teach people how to run a reactor using the CoCo program.
And a product he did that might be a good suggestion for Coco Man is he said he had crafted a coat hanger where he could reach behind his Coco to pull and hit the reset.
So, there you go. There's your $1 million idea, Coco.
Yeah. Well, that is funny because that Coco one that I bought at Dayton Hamvention has been modified, and there's a toggle switch on the front of the machine to reset it.
Yeah. So
And there was a remote reset back around 82, 83. I remember seeing in Rainbow that actually was a little thing that reached behind it. You just yanked it to hit the reset button too. So that's actually a real product back in the day. I don't think it was a coat hanger specifically, but
And I would probably suggest using something non-conductive.
Yeah, you said it was plastic coated, so.
Okay.
I had
For
a
a little
pause
while.
switch on mine that my uncle put in for me because I suck at soldering.
Hey, we should also plug. You have lots of other classic interviews with various people.
Oh
as well.
yes, like Dale Lear's one.
Dale Lear, Rick Adams, image producers.
Rick Adams.
So I'll post a link to the playlist here.
Oh, thank you.
They're his Stevie's earliest videos before CoCoTALK really.
Yeah, some of those things were kind of the predecessor to CoCoTALK, where we would have these live streamed interviews, and they were kind of one-offs that happened from time to time.
My favorite part of those. Sorry. My favorite part of those is that Curtis and Stevie are professional and nice to each other in those early videos.
yeah, man, if things change now. Holy
Yeah.
All cutthroat now.
Brian, is that the actual article from the simulation? Is that the right one? The simulation of the reactor, or is that a different one?
This is I just grabbed the magazine that you said, which was March of '83, and this was what was in there.
Is the Chris Latham the author of the program?
This is David. I can't pronounce the last name. Leggy or Lynn.
Do you have the February?
Lingle?
Can I see the cover of that one magazine? Yeah, I think that's one, because that was basically the one they used to kick off the first Rainbow Simulation contest. Was the one that Chris worked on, because Chris did the graphics machine language routines.
Okay.
It might be mentioned in the REM statements in the listing right at the beginning if you have it there, but
let's see here. I'm not seeing anything immediately here.
I hear somebody playing Doodlebug too.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, somebody's getting a head start.
That is A-okay.
Yeah, that's me. I didn't realize you guys could hear it.
That's not the only thing we've heard.
Yeah, I was going to say there for a bit. I didn't know it was a game. I thought someone was just letting out some very quiet farts.
Testing the fart detector remotely.
I'm just firing up Photoshop now.
Yeah, that Chris Latham interview was great. So highly recommend you guys watch that. What about
I hope we can
other
get him on
tips and
again.
tricks?
Yeah, any more tips and tricks from you guys? I got a bunch all list out. So,
well, isn't there a memory address you can poke to change your score?
I'm sure.
There's numerous pokes. Donkey King being such a popular game back in the day, there was the published, how to get your extra men, which I stupidly put in the. Not stupidly. I mean, for some people that aren't very good at playing the game and they want to see the levels and actually try them, you can do a poke to either give yourself a lot of extra men, or there's also a poke to change what the starting level is when you start the game.
Oh.
So you can start in any of the 4 screens.
If you cheat, you're only cheating yourself.
Exactly.
Well, I like modern games have become much easier, and you have continues out the yin yang because you're not good enough to make it all in one shot. Back then was a different mentality. You had to earn your way to every single screen.
I think John's talking within the context of a competition.
Right.
If you poke yourself for fun, yeah.
No, but it's a good point to say that modern gaming is not done that way anymore.
No.
Back then it was a quarter suck. You were trying to get somebody to play and die fairly quickly, but not so badly that they wouldn't want to come back and think they could do better.
Right.
And nowadays it's just play ad infinitum, infinite lives, save states, and whatever else until you finish the game. It's a totally different thing.
Ken Reichard's doing his Chris Farley impersonation out there. It's like, you remember that time when you interviewed Chris Latham? That was
awesome.
That was awesome. And Rob Inman, if you're out there,
thanks.
You did a hell of a job last week and a hell of a lot of content this week too. Thanks, Rob Inman. You are a superstar, sir.
Yeah. And Rob, if you can make a GameON Spotlight intro, like a fancy thing like Nick did for the GameON main one, I'd love to have something like that we can play every week for lead into this segment.
And we also need the floppy talk episode 1 too.
So are we wrapping this one?
We're going to move that to.
I've got more tips and tricks, but it's up to you guys. If you guys
I have one more thing. I have one more thing for the outro of the segment.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. So Curtis is going to start his tips and tricks.
Okay. So first of all, the super jump, which I have a video on my site, which I've had for years, which is the little technique where you can pop all the rivets vertically on the rivet screen on the
Mhm.
right-hand side. Some people have said it works on the left. I briefly tried it. Maybe I just screwed it up, but it didn't work for me. But basically, if you run from the left side of the rivet, and this works on the right side, you have to pop all the left rivets first. Otherwise, you punch them all out and then you die. And then you run over it, and it plays a little music to give you the score. Then you either jump straight up and then just plummet straight down. Or if you didn't have the auto center joystick, move back to the center in time and you actually finish the jump to the right, you can take 2 quick small steps or 1 long step. And if you try it a few times, you'll see what the difference is. And then you just jump, hold down the jump button, jump up, down, then just move the joystick back left, so you jump left, and then you'll actually fall through and pop all the rivets all the way down. The only way you can die doing that is there happens to be a fireball crossing over the rivet at the time. So that saves you a lot of time. Techniques on the first screen, there's a few depending on what level of the screen you're on, like a first time through or the second or whatever. The one I favored was basically, I don't worry about the hammer on the bottom level. And I don't usually worry about the backwards jump, you get the bonus fireball. Though if you can do that, you obviously get more points. What I worry about is that I want to get up onto the very top full size girder, and then basically just jump barrels until the timer's just about to run out and then jump.
Yeah.
Now your biggest worry there, because you're basically, if you make it to that top level, the only way you'll die by barrels if you're being stupid or you hit the wrong part of the joystick, or whatever. Because basically it's just, you can see them coming. There's no ladders to go down to or go over to dodge you. So you just keep jumping until you get off. The one thing you have to worry about is the fireball. The fireball can come up and kill you during this time. So I usually get the top hammer, and then my main mission is to kill the fireball. I could care less if I get barrels or whatever else. So once the fireball is eliminated, you no longer have to worry about dying, and you can actually sit there. Like if you get up with 3,000 left on the timer, you can jump 30 barrels before you get your score wrapping between 1 to 900 per barrel. And I've had over 20,000 points just doing that, not doing any other tricks in the bottom.
That's good.
The L equals of level flashes 3 times before your hammer disappears.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that some people didn't know.
2 on that screen, I'll mention when you get to the later levels, there's some alternate patterns the barrels take. You've seen like there's the semi-diagonal one, like the start one of the second.
And then the kind of zigzaggy.
Zigzaggy, and there's a couple levels of zigzaggy. There's a gradual zigzag, and there's a hell of a zigzag.
Oh, that one's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Now those super zigzag ones, the far left and the far right of the screens, the barrel will never go that far. So if you see it coming and you're near one of the sides, run to that side as far as you can, and it'll never hit you. So that's a little technique to get around that. There's also another alternate one too, which you may not notice as easily because it looks like he's just dropping it straight down, like he does to initially launch the fireballs. But on later levels, he'll actually throw it down twice as fast. So instead of going doot doot doot, it goes doot doot doot, and it's like right down there. So that if you get one of those and you're underneath, you might get hit in the head pretty quick and not have time to react. And speaking of reactions, if you watch Kong stomping his feet, when he does that, usually within 3 to 4 barrels, he's going to throw a sidewinder or a faster one or something like that. So you can use that as a warning. Okay, I have to watch out for this, or I might have to get to the side if I'm at a later level where I know he's going to do one of those big sidewinders, that you have a little bit of time to try to run over and get over.
Yeah, the arcade does that too. That's an indication that he's angry and that he's about to throw one of those wild barrels.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the main techniques I have for the first 2 levels. The elevator level, not too much of a technique there. The one technique I will give is that when you're on the right side, that one fireball keeps coming down at you and you can't go jumping across. I know Stevie hit that quite a few times.
Yeah.
If you walk down to the bottom one, then he has a much better chance that he'll go all the way up to the top again and give you time to run back up. But if you stay in that middle one where you're supposed to start jumping, he'll almost always come after you and not let you pass. So basically you have to run down, let him go up. And then once he starts going up slowly, that top ladder on the far right side, then you have time to run up and jump across and go through. There's a bit of bug on the elevator level. You probably saw me doing it on some of my videos where if you're jumping from the middle platform on the left side to the right elevator and you stop right where your head's just connecting with the white pole that the elevator's going up and down on, you'll instantly die. I think it misreads the white as you hit something. which has killed me a few times. So the way around that is when you jump off, keep the joystick to the right and take at least one step, and then it'll eliminate that bug and you won't die. If you're playing on a keyboard on an emulator, I've had tremendous problems on the far right side, like we were talking about earlier, to avoid that one fireball that keeps zipping up and down. That I would try to run left and then jump to start going across, and instead it would fall. It wouldn't register the jump key very well. The secret on that is move to the right, because you can take another step to the right after you've crawled up the ladder, and that gives you that extra step that you can actually get it to register the jump key properly. And I basically eliminated stupid deaths on my part using keyboard controls at that point. So that's a good one to know too. There is, like, I know there was talk, the arcade game, if you have your hands hanging on the girder, that the barrels will pass over you, and that definitely does not work. It actually attracts them in Donkey King.
Absolutely.
But I have found, and I haven't quite found the exact position yet, but on the very first girder, if you go to that far right ladder and you go about literally halfway up it and stay there, all the barrels will roll down before they come down that girder. So if you need to pause to go to the bathroom or something like that, that will actually cause all of the barrels. If somebody can bring up the screen, I can kind of explain it. But basically on the bottom girder on the first screen or the first level, the far right ladder that's underneath where the hammer is, if you walk it up about halfway, and there's a certain position where it works and a certain position where it doesn't. And I haven't quite figured out how many steps or whatever that is. But basically, if you get up to the right position, when the barrels start coming down the zigzagging back and forth, they'll always turn on the ladder towards where the fire oil pit is. So basically, they'll never come all the way down to the right-hand side and hit you. And you'll still die if your timer runs out, obviously. And if the fireball happens to wander over to you, it'll kill you as well. But the barrels will never come down there. But I haven't quite figured out the exact positioning for that. But you can use that as kind of a pause if you need to run to the bathroom, because there's no pause in Donkey King.
It's kind of like the Pac-Man hide in the corner and they'll never find you trick. Yeah.
It just buys you some time.
Your big risk is just having your timer run down.
Or if you're emulating, you can pause main.
I think there is a pause in Donkey King. Did you hit P?
Yeah, I think I tried that.
I don't think it works unless the King has it. Maybe that's one of the things he added.
Unless you're pausing main.
I'll tell you. Hang on.
Well, yeah, P will pause MAME.
P will pause MAME itself. So
no, I'll try it now.
I think there's one broken ladder on the first level, which is safe to climb up if you need to dodge some barrels, and barrels don't seem to roll down it. It's the one that's on the third girder, I think. Yeah.
And then there's there's general strategies too, like on the girder screen, kind of keep an eye out for the barrels. If you have a series of say 3 barrels coming at once, and there's no way you're going to be able to jump through it, don't run under a ladder. Like stop before you get to a ladder to go up to level, because then more often than not, one might go down that one, you jump it immediately, but the other 2 get spread out now because the middle one went down the first ladder.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you keep running, they'll tend to go in as a group and keep going as a group, and then you're dead. But if you stop, they tend to split up more often. So that sometimes gives you a bit of extra time. And you can see some of these techniques I actually did use on the video I put up of the high score.
Very cool.
I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. I don't know much of the history of the game. I mean, Chris Latham interview basically covers.
Yep, P works.
Everything on there.
P works as a pause
on the Coco.
In the King. Yeah, I'm playing the King.
The King.
Okay.
P pauses. Enter continues again.
I think that's new.
That must be new on the King.
I tried to pause Donkey King and I couldn't.
Are you doing that on hardware or on? Emulator?
Yeah, real hardware with the King.
Okay. You have Donkey King there, the old version, just to see if that is true that it doesn't work.
I'll
does not
download
work.
it and I'll let you know.
And then after that, Nick, can you do something else for us? Can you?
Well, yeah, Jason's got it there. He says it doesn't work.
Does not work.
Okay. So that it wasn't okay. Then that's one of the things that he did change between.
I don't think it works on Buzzard Bait either.
Well, who cares about that one? But
yeah, we just turn it off on that one.
Curtis,
why would you ever want to pause the action in that game? That's why you don't need it.
Go ahead, Brian.
Have you ever played the risque version of that game?
King Dong? Yes. Stevie actually, I think, covered it way back, didn't we?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Does anybody know who actually did that?
I think somebody just hacked, the king.
Well, I know that's what they did, but I'm not sure who did it.
Who? Yeah,
Because somebody actually went and had to go through and figure where all the shape tables and stuff were.
Probably David Ladd.
That's no mean feat.
Whoever it wasn't anxious to say that it was them.
I believe
This is why I figured Czech would pipe up and go, "Yeah, that was me when I was 14 or something." Anyway, I had a lot of fun. I've not played Donkey King, except to show friends quickly if they came over in years. And I did have that's not my all-time high score. I had a higher one back in the club days when I was a teenager, which was more challenging because that was with a Black Beauty joystick.
Yeah.
But it was in the 130s somewhere. But that was the best game I've had literally since probably like 1989 or 90 or something. So,
oh wow,
fluke.
There we go. 50-year-old guys can reclaim their video game prowess.
Yeah.
It's like Viagra. That's what it's like.
Right.
Anybody else have anything they want to share with tips and tricks or things they liked or?
Yeah, I was hoping Alan Huffman would be on here because he actually suggested a few that Stevie had tried there that worked quite well.
Yes, Alan was definitely a jump everything to get the points strategist, which Stevie
and that was the thing for me. I'm used to, like a few other people had mentioned. I think Stevie mentioned this too. We usually played to try to get to the furthest screen because you want to see all the levels, right?
Well, when you want to talk about strategy, especially with Doodlebug, there's a lot of strategy involved in Doodlebug when you want to pick up the letters based on when the color matches what's highlighted up on the top.
And the
which
hearts.
is based on the timer. You can see which bars it's going to be red, blue, or white. Yeah.
The hearts are score multipliers, and you can only get them when it's white.
And this was not uncommon in a lot of these video games. They designed things where you could play different ways. You could just like Galaxian, right? You could just shoot the bad guys, but if they were in formation and you had like the queen with the two soldiers, if you got both soldiers and that queen at part of that first formation fall, you got more points for killing that cluster, right? So there was a lot of things like that in video games, like Pac-Man. If you were able to get all 4 ghosts on the power pill, you got increasing bonuses for each successive one. So the games would reward people who wanted to play dangerously to get bigger rewards, risk reward balance. You can play quickly and eat all the dots and just keep moving, or you could play strategically for more points. So that was neat that those games were designed in a way that different players could take different strategies and be rewarded accordingly,
One thing I just discovered with Doodlebug, because I've been testing it here, we're going to, for people who have a digital joystick, the Doodlebug is very fussy. The stick has to be dead center. Anyone who's tried Doodlebug, you'll see the way the bug moves. If you hit left, it starts moving left. If you hit right, it starts moving right. You can't stop it. It keeps moving in one of.
There's no center dead zone, is what you're saying?
Can you stop
That's
it with an analog stick?
It has a center dead zone. Because I find with my digital joystick, and I just tried a few, I move left. As soon as I let it center, it kept bouncing back to the right, even though I haven't moved the stick to the right. But obviously, the dead center point is very fine. Yes, and
or it doesn't have one. It might just be you're moving left or right, and that's it.
Well,
I might not let you stop.
It's looking for it. It's expecting a dead center point to be like a neutral. It'll keep moving in that direction, but obviously with a digital joystick, as soon as you let go of the stick, that's not the dead center point. So it will reverse direction and it'll pick it up as being the stick has moved to the other direction. It's
because there is no center on a digital.
Well, there is a center, but obviously the game's written to expect a very specific center, which.
Well, it goes 0 to 63, so it should be.
Which from what I remember from Doodlebug, basically 0 to 31 is left, and 32 to 63 is right, and there is no center. I don't think you can stop even on the real Coco, can you?
Okay.
You can't stop, no, but no.
But Nick's saying you can't even let go of the controller.
Yeah, no, that's true because
if you let go of the,
it'll center itself back to 32 or whatever, and that's hard
that'll
right.
kick it right,
and that changes.
And I noticed that issue too.
And honestly, I noticed because I was playing around with it, and I just wrote a routine to keep returning the value. And I was perfectly centering it at say 32, and then if you just move the joystick around, it would be off by one. It would be like at 33 or 31. It wouldn't stay exactly on 32. So
Yes,
it's
so Doodlebug must be looking at 32. If you move left, for less than 32, it starts moving the bug left. But if you move if the stick at any point goes just past 32, it moves the bug in the other direction.
Well, there's no true middle point.
So there's no dead zone. In other words,
there's no dead zone.
They never
You've got to
programmed it.
keep the stick in that position that you're moving. You can't just let go of the stick.
It's like Pac-Man in the arcade, because the only way you can stop is if you run into a wall.
Yeah.
There's no like I can just let go of the joystick and float and stay in my spot. You can't do that. It's the same.
Right. It'll keep moving.
So turning off the auto centering on the deluxe joystick would be a better option for that.
Well, I've done that, but the thing is that the precision on the deluxe joysticks, you fine tune the pots in the front, but as you play it, those settings move, and
it's not very accurate. Yeah.
He didn't. Whoever programmed it didn't give a wide enough margin in the middle of the joystick to make.
You should leave in. You should
because he has no dead zone, he wouldn't be able to, because you've only got left, right, or up, down. There's no stay still. So
in a Black Beauty, I guess you'd have no center. So yeah, you move your stick into the direction you want it to go, and that's the way it'll keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, on a self-centering stick, yeah, well, what's the center point?
So that's what I meant with the deluxe joystick. They turn off
this game.
Sorry,
Stevie.
I'm trying to get to the moral of the story. Are we suggesting an analog stick is best for this game?
Well, I think it was designed for the analog stick, but if you play it with a self-centering joystick, you've got to always have the stick in the direction you want it to move.
Yeah, you can't let go of the direction.
Yeah, you can't start moving in one direction, then let go of the stick, thinking that by
it'll keep going that direction. Yeah, it might just pop you the other way.
Might trigger back the other direction based on.
So digital sticks and self-centering sticks both, you basically have to hold the joystick in the direction you want to go at all times.
Yeah. Now with the deluxe, you've got the you can adjust the pots there for a while. In a digital stick, of course, it's not. It's whatever. However, the interface has been wired. Well, you're stuck with that.
Well, you could put the deluxes on free floating too.
That's what I was just going to say. The auto centering. Yeah.
So it must be a free floating joystick is what it was designed for.
Yeah.
That's all.
Black Beauties want to know how we like them now. They're like, how do you like me now? All right.
So next week's challenge. Doodlebug.
Okay, I guess that pretty much wraps it up for this segment. The only thing I want to say is, if you have any suggestions for games you'd like us to consider for the GameON challenge, just send an email to CoCoTALK at CoCoTalk@CoCoTalk.live with the subject of GameON, and we'd like to consider entries from the community because.
And you can put them in Discord in the high screen or high score screenshot channel.
Sure, that's another place.
All right.
And thank you very much for those who participated, and we hope to see more this week. So thank you very much, guys.
Oh, Bruce Moore just got here asking what's next week's game. You want to answer that question, Nick?
Yes, the game is Doodlebug.
And we can spend 14 minutes explaining to you how to use your joystick if you'd like. That'll be the short version of the story. Yeah. All right. So here's the outro, and then we'll be back with the Coco Caboose final thoughts and wrap-up show. See you guys in a few. Oh, by the way, before we do that, let's go ahead and thank our panel. Our host this week, Nick Marotta.
Thank you very much.
Our high score winner, L. Curtis Boyle.
Thanks, everyone.
Sorry.
Our chat moderator and Apple guy, Mark D. Overholzer.
Glad to be here.
John Lowry.
Hey.
Brian Weasler.
Hello.
Our two Thunders from Down Under, David O'Connor and Nick Marentes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Enthusiasm himself,
Australian Elvis.
Sir David Ladd.
Crikey.
Crikey.
Jason, the Coco Man record. Thanks for being here.
What's the high score on buzzard bait now?
Yes. Yes.
Brian, the Music Man Schubring.
Hello, and goodbye.
And Diego. And
Hey,
to all
from
of
the
you in the
other-
live chat, including Dave and Sharon and D. Bruce Moore and Jason Bucata, Rob Inman, Sharon, Jason, Robert Murphy. You know who you guys are. Thanks for being here. We're gonna roll the outro and we'll be back here in just a minute.
This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click the Patreon link at our website at cocotalk.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
CoCoTALK would not exist without the community, its past, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Tom C., Rob Inman, Mark Bosley, Brian Joyce, Ken Reichert, David O'Connor, Brian Weasler, Terry Steggy, Nick Marotta, John Strong, and many more, especially to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and James Differendaffer for making my head explode. Please help support the CoCo community by visiting some of its various contributors. A list of resources is available at imacoconut.com. That's IMACOCONUT.com. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore.
The CoCoTALK train wreck is over, and we welcome you to the last surviving car. Join us in Zoom for CoCoTALK Caboose, a recap of today's show. CoCoTALK Caboose starts now.
Another fine production from Rob Inman.
The caboose is loose.
The caboose is loose.
Oh, yeah.
I found a little interesting tidbit of information here. I noticed on Nick Marotta's screen back there's an ad for Donkey King.
Yes.
And so I went and hunted down that same image on the internet, and the copyright date on it's 1982. So in 1982, they were asking $27.95 for the game, which in 2020 dollars works out to be $74.72.
That's like a Switch game.
In today's money.
Like
Is
a
that how
Nintendo
much a
Switch
Switch game costs?
Yeah.
An average new game is like $59.99. So it's like $60 for a new title on average for like an Xbox game or something.
I remember Super Nintendo games being $50-$60 back in 91, 92.
But
Well, back in those days, I remember just empty floppy disks from Tandy cost $6 a disc.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
I remember though,
And we liked it.
We were buying them.
We loved it.
What was that magazine? Computer or something? Computer Shopper.
Computer Shopper, yeah.
Yeah, you could go. If you went in there, in the back, they had ads for discs. If you bought them in bulk, like 100 or more, you could get like 40 cents a piece or something like that. It was a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I would go to like places like Micro Center and buy what I called the white envelope brand.
Well, that's why we flipped them, right? We punched holes in them to use both sides, because.
Oh yeah, we would make a flippy
Big
disc.
flippies, yeah.
with I actually somewhere still have a little stencil, and then you would use a paper punch and do that. Now I go, I would never do that now, but that was,
yeah,
that was freaking great back then. But you had to be super careful.
So don't stick it. Don't paper punch through your USB.
Because there's
drive.
a dust. There was a thing to pick up the dust, and when you flipped it over, you reversed the direction and would dump all that dust on the first side A.
Yep.
Oops.
Yeah.
There was actually some companies that made discs that were punched like that already.
Yeah, but I believe those did not have the dust sweepy thingy in it.
I would hope they wouldn't. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Didn't they have the dust? The flippy disks actually had a special one where it had different grains going different directions for each side or something like that. I can't remember the exact details.
That makes sense.
Because there was official flippy disks sold, though they were far rarer than just a double density or double sided floppy.
We were rebels. Dust be damned.
Yeah.
Taking off, guys. Have a good day.
Don't dusty that floppy.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Actually, I was
Hi,
probably
Rick Adams, who's joined us after the show was over.
Hey, Rick.
Right.
Rick Adams, better late than never.
Oh, Rob Inman.
Rob
Yes,
Ian.
I want Rob too.
Rick Adams is in the
You're
caboose.
too kind.
That's right. Rick Adams is on our second recap show. Rick, welcome.
Is this a show where we talk about recapping our Cocos?
We talk about what we just talked about, and then we talk about that.
Remember earlier when we were talking about? Wasn't that great?
I think we could spend some quality time discussing the minutia of a self-centering digital stick and how it applies to Doodlebug.
Better yet, where is everybody's buzzard bait high scores now?
I've got
You're gonna get me lynched.
More info regarding the joystick that people will be interested in. Got half an hour?
You just need David Ladd to explain it in full detail.
If you want to hear more about joysticks, push left. If you don't, push right.
No, but
unless it's a digital joypad.
No, there's another thing.
If
Press
you want to
the
hear,
fire button down. If you want it to stop and hold the button down, it stops moving.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There you go. See, valuable.
In Doodlebug?
In Doodlebug, yep.
So the fire
So you
button's
do
like
press the-
pause?
Is that different than an analog
It just
stick?
stops your Doodlebug from moving.
Oh, so that's like
an
putting on the
official.
brakes.
Yes, like the brakes.
Yeah, it's got to be
So if you-
programmed in.
Yeah, and it's actually an official feature of the game, but yeah, not many people seem to know it.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I
not
didn't-
many of
wanna
us back then
pause
had
before you-
manuals because we didn't buy it.
No.
Yeah.
and if you'd like to hear less about this, click the X in the corner of your screen.
Where did Rob go? There he is. Hey, Rob.
Yes, sir.
Great job last week, and great job with all the content with our news and our caboose and everything else, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you very
It was
Yeah, you
fun.
better give the Game On segment 2 hours next week so we can really dig into the joystick issue.
Did you by any chance catch the world premiere of Deck B?
I did. That was a
Was it
real
Ripper?
game changer.
I think the word you're looking for, well, that happened.
Then this happened.
Of all the commercials ever made, that was one of them.
Thanks for picking up on the poke yourself for fun comment I accidentally made there, Jason.
Hey, Curtis, how do you make the garbage can icon in Nitrous 9 ease of use bigger?
Switch it back to low res.
Oh, there you go.
Get a bigger monitor.
Put more stuff in it; it'll expand.
A bit.
Or have Nick, Photoshop a bigger one of the two.
Oh, there you go. I couldn't get a bigger. I got a 55-inch TV that I could hook my Coco to.
So Nick, are you going to really take part in one of these games?
Me.
He tried. Nick did play. He played the first night that the After Dark we had.
Yeah, apparently he swore even more than Stevie did and decided not
Yeah.
to submit this. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it was great though too. Yesterday I was playing and I was streaming just to Discord, and Bruce Moore was there, and then Jacob came in the room and goes, "Oh, I remember that game." And so then Jacob started playing too. So even though it was late, the whole idea of this kind of contagion of people just wanting to play games collectively, I think is such a great idea. You know.
Yeah, I was hoping Jacob would have submitted a score, but
yeah.
Apparently having his name read on the air was not an incentive enough. That and a nickel will get you right on the subway.
Yeah. So Rob, I mean, you guys really are giving me a lot of inspiration.
Oops.
Oh, he froze.
now.
I thought that was me
That's
again.
what you were doing before, Nick.
There's
Yeah.
inspiration.
Dramatic
You got some
pause.
dramatic pause.
Okay, I'm back.
Yep, he's back.
So,
He had to
Stevie,
rearrange
you
the
were
room.
telling me about how I inspire you so much.
Yeah.
Who are the wind beneath his wings?
So enough about you, more
Yeah.
about me.
So I'm trying a variation of what you guys done. You and Mark Bosley have done this. I've got myself in the Zoom panel.
In the panel, yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, I thought that worked out well.
That's better than you hidden down at the bottom. Like, what's Stevie doing? I can't see.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
no,
a
that's
little tiny
great.
postage stamp Stevie.
I just hope it translates to the stream well. I won't really tell how good it is till I hear the playback. So.
Well, we can see you better.
I don't think
so
it can
take
be
that
any
as you will.
worse.
Stevie,
Yes, David.
can I have a sharing moment?
Sharing is caring, David.
floppy
Just remember, at this point in time, you guys are cutting into my dinner time. So
Yeah.
make it quick.
So
Okay.
first thing, have you already asked your physician? Is it one of those kind of questions?
Okay. Curtis, you know that question you asked earlier?
Can you be less vague?
Obviously, it's something of a sensitive nature.
Well, Curtis, take a look.
Oh,
there you go.
Ah.
Is that a Lego piece?
That is a Lego piece.
Yeah, the Lego piece for the bottom
The tab
of the
for the
It's Bender the robot's head.
locks.
Or curved edge.
Right, my shiny metal.
Yeah, I
Did you-
need two of those.
Did you locate that STL or did you just create it?
I didn't create it, but a member of the community has created it, and I'm sure he will be letting someone know about it.
Okay, so
Strangely
that's
enough, we have
the
people listen
Is
to
it
our
going to
show.
go up on Thingiverse?
I have no idea. I gotta I'm just showing you what's been posted to me so far.
Oh, this is an insider peek.
Yes, because he's 2 hours behind on the show at the moment.
Okay.
Already. Well, that's
So-
all.
so
And
he
it's not
heard-
me for
quit.
once.
He should quit while he's behind.
Yeah, so
Haven't finished the whole rest of the
Curtis's-
joystick, and we can just print our own joystick.
Yes.
You know, that's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah,
It's time for another edition of
actually
Good Idea, Bad Idea.
I'm kind of half serious about it.
Yeah.
Half serious.
That could be done. You know, the
You're gonna
print half a
potentiometers are probably, you know, off the shelf parts that you
Probably. I mean, what about
and DIN plugs and cable and
I've
you
got
know,
a good
four
idea.
wire.
I know you can buy DIN plugs and cables still. Believe me, I know.
What's your idea, Stevie?
I'm going to buy a 3D printer. Then I'm going to 3D print all the parts to build the 3D printer, return it, and get a full refund.
David, that was saying you can 3D print additional parts for your 3D printer.
I 3D printed the way the cable feeds was kind of poorly designed, so somebody made a little part that you could add on to it that guides the cable a little bit better. So I printed it out and added it to my 3D printer. So absolutely, you could improve 3D printers with creating and printing 3D parts for it. I mean, that's what
Someone should make the very minimal parts you need for a 3D printer as a printer, and then when you bring it home, it prints the rest of itself.
This is starting to sound like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is the second best 3D printer Only to be made best.
You
by
really
me.
need to find the radio play ones. If you don't find them, let me know, Stevie, because I actually have the copies of them.
I have a pretty low end. I have a pretty low end 3D printer. It was only like $130 or something. It wasn't very expensive at all. But it does print pretty nice, prints for what I paid for it.
This is all starting to sound a bit like Star Trek with replicators.
Yeah.
It's gone from 3D printers to actual,
Well, if we
Trekkie
tie the
replicators.
output into the pattern buffer and we realign the photon,
change the dilithium matrix.
Can totally be done.
shift the phase by 0.03 degrees.
I've made a bunch of clocks that I used to sell on Second Life, and so I took one of the models for my clocks and then I 3D printed it, and it was like the inverse of Tron. It's like instead of bringing
taking something from the grid out into the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for anybody that's into D&D, that's what a lot of people do. And there's a company that's started up that they made a service called Hero Forge, where you can design your characters. They'll make them for you, or you can pay their service. You download the STL and you can print your model yourself.
Okay.
So, but as far as the printer stuff, I received a 3D printer, and I've been going for like the last week printing all of the upgrades for it. Chain assemblies, fan blower. It's just, it's
yeah.
That is pretty cool. Bruce Moore and Jason Bucata. By the way, Jason is a patron. Thank you for your patronage, Jason. And so is Bruce, for that matter. They're mentioning the whole GameON idea. We don't want to discourage people who maybe aren't super game talented to not want to play. So it's not just about getting the best score. It's really about just getting together and playing, right? Getting on your CoCo, having fun with your CoCo, having a collective experience. We will recognize those who got good scores, but the score is secondary. This whole communal experience of having fun with our CoCo for the week is really the goal. And
agreed.
It really showed this week.
That's why today we read through the whole list of people first, and in alpha order, and then we focused on the top 10.
Yeah,
and if
we'll acknowledge everybody who participates each week.
And if
it becomes too many to read, we can put a screen up that says, "Here are all the people who participated this week."
Yeah,
like when it becomes that so popular that.
Yeah, pause video right here, and you can read all of them.
And if you need help rage quitting, Stevie's here to help.
Absolutely.
I need play for the prize money.
Classes later.
The prize money.
I believe that's a division by zero error.
Yes.
It's a free copy of Nightmare Highway.
We should make Nightmare Highway the game one week.
Yeah, we should.
That's okay, Bruce. I think Grant Lady got a 0.0 also. So.
Yeah. So when I first heard the early stages of this pitch, when he first started talking about it, I think he kind of pitched it as like the Oprah book club. Like, here's the book I read this week, or here's the book I want you to read this week, and the CoCo version of that. So I started thinking along the lines of, let me find a really obscure CoCo game, like a hidden gem or an overlooked title, and maybe just do a brief review of that each week and show somebody a game they maybe didn't know existed or maybe didn't consider playing, and give you a little reason to maybe give it a look at, so I'll try to include some content like that each week too when I have time.
Especially if it's a dragon game. We haven't heard of a lot of those.
Yeah, I'd love to find more of those dragon games that were converted to CoCo. Like, I haven't played any of those.
Willie's Warehouse is what Ken's throwing out.
Depending how the game was written on the dragon, you might not have to change anything.
Yeah. That one program that
Willie's Warehouse
ran perfectly on a CoCo too.
I guess we can always play them in XROAR as well, but
Yeah.
If it's joystick driven, it usually will work straight through. If it's keyboard driven and uses ROM calls, it'll work straight on the CoCo. If it uses direct PIA reads, then it will likely remap keys on you.
Hey, Rick, is there anything you want to share with us? What you've been working on at all, or?
Life has been happening, and so I haven't been doing much of anything other than on Temple of Ram, I'm going through the source very slowly and finding parts of the code that I don't understand what it does and figuring out what it does and improving the comments and just sort of having a nostalgia blast of
Scratching your head and saying, "What the hell was I thinking?"
Right. This is what I did 40 years ago.
I'll remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Well, it's from a disassembly, so there are no comments. So any
Right.
comments, I have to add them all. So I have to figure out, all right, what is this code doing here? And originally, when I started, the disassembler isn't perfect. It does come up with something that you can compile and build, and it'll make an exact copy of Temple of Ram. But there were places where there would be data that would be disassembled as instructions, but it wasn't really the instructions. And so I'd have to figure out, oh, this is not actually a bunch of crazy instructions that do nothing normal. This is actually the data for how to draw the bat, say. So
like a data table.
Yeah. So, and then I would redo that part of the source to look more like this is the data of the bat. And as a matter of fact, I have a comment that says, "Here is the bat!" exclamation mark. Because I've been looking for it. It's like, where's the data for how you draw the bat? I can't see it anywhere. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I was all excited when I found that.
So you never had the original. You didn't keep the original source code.
No, it was on 3 20-minute audio cassettes, and those are lost to the snows of yesteryear, long ago.
Yeah.
I probably threw them out.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and
cassette.
It was unbelievable, but true. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just going through the source and finding, oh, this is a subtlety I didn't know about, or I'm still finding bugs that were in the original game that Tandy and I never figured out. For example, if you shoot the laser straight up, it'll stop drawing the laser 1 pixel short of the status area. That was like the latest bug that I found, and then I fixed it. So it was just a branch that was, branch of higher, and instead it should have been branch of higher or same or something like that.
Oh, the one-off errors, those are the worst.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm adding stuff. I've added 2 new monsters. I've expanded the maze quite a bit. I have a way, overly technical way of people can generate levels for it. So the next thing I'm thinking of now is, do I want to add keys and gates to it? Like you have keys, then you have doors that are locked, and you have to have the key to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure that I want to do that, but I'm looking at how I would do that if I did. So that's the first step to the madness is, how would I do it if I chose to do it? So to do that, I have to look at what order are things drawn in, and why did I draw it that way? For example, I found out that the portals are drawn last. You draw the laser, you draw the player as he's running around, and then you draw the portals. And I'm like, well, why did I do that? So then I changed it so that the portals were drawn just before the laser was. And then all of a sudden I found out if you shoot the laser at a portal, it stops at the portal and explodes. And so I put it back the way that it was. And so if you shoot at a portal, it'll pass through the portal, but it goes, if you look very carefully, it goes behind the portal, which is sort of a cosmetic glitch, but I don't see an easy way around it. And no one's really noticed all these years, so I don't really care a whole lot. So I just put it back the way that it was originally, and it'll just stay that way for now.
Mm.
So extreme trivia.
Yeah, it's cool stuff though, because it's stuff you haven't worked on for forever. And like Chris Latham, people were asking Chris Latham questions the other day.
Oh, I know.
About Donkey King, and he's like, "You're asking a 60-year-old guy about something he did 40 years ago."
937. When you put this, what did you mean?
Yeah.
But
Well, it's official. The Donkey King or the King is harder than the actual Donkey Kong.
Really?
I just
Who made
put
it?
Donkey Kong in the Coco 3, the John Kowalski's, and the first game I got to the elevators and platforms. It was much easier than what I was doing with the King.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always
Yes.
known the King is harder than the
You
real
just need to
Donkey.
practice more, Nick. Let's just be honest here.
No, he's right. He's absolutely right. The real
Yeah, there
Donkey
you
Kong
go.
is a lot easier.
Curtis,
is,
you're gonna have to start playing with your opposite hand on a Black Beauty all games.
That's one of the problems with the first 8-bit arcade games. They were made, with a certain level of difficulty, but they quickly learned that people would become expert and they could put a quarter in and play for 3 hours on a quarter because the games weren't hard enough. And that's why that company out there was making those boards, those modification boards to make the games faster and harder to play.
Well, there are dip switches you could use to adjust all kinds of stuff, right?
Right. There's adjustments usually like number of players or how many quarters per play, stuff like that.
If there are free lives.
There was a company out there that developed, they called them speed up boards. They would generally make the game run faster. And then they also started getting into hacking. As a matter of fact, they made what turned into Ms. Pac-Man. Midway or Namco did not make Ms. Pac-Man.
Yeah.
They hacked Pac-Man and turned it into this weird Pac-Man with this little flag on its head.
Pac-Man Plus.
Yeah, and then that
the same people who did Miss. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
people who did Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man Plus did Miss Pac-Man.
They wound up taking it to Namco, and Namco wound up having them convert it, and they worked with them, and then ultimately what came out of it was Ms. Pac-Man, and that was a mod. You would go to a Pac-Man unit and you would modify pull the ROMs and put the new ROMs in and change the marquee and put new graphics on the side, and now you got a Ms. Pac-Man machine.
Well, Miss Pac-Man was a better game.
It was, yeah. But yeah, there were a whole bunch of modification boards for arcade games because they just weren't hard enough. They misjudged the skill level of the people who play the games.
Or there would be some sort of a bug that let people exploit them,
bugs that you can exploit. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's cool.
Cool. Well, I just added a nice little caboose image here to the scene. Now here's the CoCoTALk caboose.
I was admiring your caboose.
Hey, that sounds gay.
Oh, one more thing, guys.
Yes.
So just for total lark, I just added. If you have a what do you call it? The memory board. Shoot, it just dropped out of my head. The Richard Boomerang? Board. The boomerang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's got the cute little LED, right? So in Temple of Rom 2, when you shoot your laser, the LED lights up white. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, there you go. That's cool. That's a cool little effect. Yeah.
Yeah. No big deal, but just for a lark, I'd put that in. Okay, that's all I got.
Yeah, I think we heard.
That's cool.
There was a rumor you were going to do
that. Augmented reality there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's there. Why not use it,
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll have to get onto Discord and download that documentation. I meant to do that during the week, but I ran out of time working on a video edit for another project I was working on. So
I didn't realize that the boomerang had that LED on it.
Multicolor.
Now the box art can say immersive gameplay.
We'll be supporting the LED in the later version of Nitrous 9 too. So
yeah, that's neat.
Stevie, you sounded very enthused by that news.
No. Well, listen, Deck B gives you
it's
direct
a silly
access.
little mod added to the board, but it's
Deck B.
Deck B gives you direct access. Bare metal performance.
Yeah,
that's it.
Bare metal. Hey, metal. That's an Apple thing.
Back in the day, it was like driving a shift versus
Deck B is actually short for decadent basic, so that can say everything.
Decrement B.
Yeah, that was definitely inspired by Rob's commercials and like some of Nightmare Highway. Like all the fake features, like direct access to your floppies.
I like the way you did the DIR as the highlighted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Well, reverse video.
That was funny. I actually did laugh
we
out
could
loud
do like
here.
a spoof on the Nike one too, and say just dur it.
Just dur it. Yeah. Did you put that together, Stevie?
I did that last night. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good job.
Thank you. Inspiration, man. This show has become so cool because we're getting all this content and all these ideas from all these people. It's like that. I say the sum of the whole is greater than the parts, or something to do with somebody's whole. I don't remember, but yeah.
The
I don't know,
synergy
is that when you poke the game first?
Yes.
Or poke yourself for fun.
Oh yeah, Robert Murray said
That's what it was.
a bag shirt that says "Just dur it." Dur. Yeah.
That's a good shirt. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to go have dinner soon. So you guys want to restart this and do an after talk? But I'm gonna have to press the button pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm actually okay for wrapping.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry myself here. I will mention, I just
three.
got a notification from Twitch that Boat is going to be doing a live stream here, and he's doing some Neo Geo stuff too, instead of Spectrum stuff. But he's also going to do a Doodlebug high score attempt already.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Who's going to do that?
Boat from the
Boat.
Amigos Retros.
It's either Boat or Aaron. I'm not sure which one actually. It just says Amigos Retro Gaming, but yeah.
You want to post the link in the YouTube chat
I
so
assume Amigos
people
Retro
know how to
Gaming
get
is
there.
Aaron.
Yeah, let me just grab the link here.
All right, folks, I'm out of here.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Great show.
Good night,
Thanks.
good luck.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Nick
we don't-
Moroder, for
everyone.
hosting.
Oh, thank you for asking me to. It's really fun. I hope I hope I do okay.
Okay, it is Boat. I just verified. I just got the stream going. So
All right.
And
Yeah,
thanks,
we don't
Rob.
need a hangry Stevie.
Yeah, Rob, thanks for all your content. Your production values are stellar, sir.
ah crap. Did I already close my chat? Oh no, there it is.
We're still streaming, right?
We're still streaming. Yeah. Waiting on Curtis to figure out how to copy and paste here. He's so used to doing an inefficient operating system that these modern
It's like the old
Real question,
MS
is
DOS
Grant Lee
commercials.
streaming?
Remember
All
the
this silly,
DOS
all
commercials?
this silly Mac stuff, Curtis. You need to get your Coco out and start running Nitrous 9 for the show.
There you go.
Okay, I posted the link.
There you go.
Thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
Final words, Curtis Boyle.
Watch Boat.
Okay.
Let's see if he
Marco
swears
Overholser-
as much as Stevie.
Marco Overholser is on the phone. Final words, Nick Marotta.
I have a piece of advice for you. If you're feeling blue, hit F1 and reset, and then you'll be red.
Hey, I like that.
Hey, that's good.
I almost thought we were going to do like a groovy kind of love there for a second. David O'Connor, final thoughts.
Oh, I always get stuck on final thoughts, so I'm going to pass the final thoughts. I'm just going to say thank you to everybody for being with us every week and having fun. It's a blast. I love it.
Likewise. It's like having a blast with a new math tutor. David Ladd, final thoughts.
Everybody, just respect each other and embrace the warming welcome of the community.
This is a dawning of the age of a
Jason Reichert, final thoughts.
I'm going to go ahead and fire up buzzard bait lately for my game fusion challenge.
You're becoming my
buzzer
favorite
bait.
person.
I'm going to fire up Fangman. Nicholas Marentes.
Yes, I've just been playing Doodlebug in the Coco 3 color and version. It looks good there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there is. That's right. I forgot to mention. There's an RGB patched Coco 3 version of that.
Okay.
Yeah, with
which is not on the
yeah, I've
SDC
seen
card
that.
by default. The
I've
SDC
seen that,
card does not include those.
but yeah, the version that we put together's got better colors.
Oh, I thought you meant the. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all my thoughts.
Okay.
I forgot you guys did. That's good. I'm gonna use that one.
Rick Adams, final thoughts.
You'll go far, Fletcher. You'll go.
Oh, you kind of sound like him. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
See you at Coco Fest.
You could be a voiceover artist.
Oh.
Where was Rick back then? Hmm.
All right, everyone.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry,
out of here.
everybody.
Rob Inman, you have the final thought.
You can play Doodlebug on the Deck B operating system.
Just
Available
dirt.
now.
All right. We're pressing the button. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.